3, 2, 1. All right, hey everybody, we're finally live. We had some technical issues, but thanks for joining us because we got special guest AJ Rainville is in the house, and we're going to talk about treasure hunts today. Just treasure hunts in general, maybe a little bit of past, present, and future, possibly. So, how you doing, AJ?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Christy?
Hello, all. Thank you for being here. And yes, we had a technical difficulty, but I will say it was not me. It was AJ, and it was me. So
Yeah, you know.
I got cows everywhere.
Cows everywhere.
And for those of you that don't know, some people were like, "I don't understand how AJ's a cow." You need to go to the World Series of Fenn video. And if you did not see, I think that's on Sean's channel. I don't remember which channel it's on, but AJ actually was in full cow attire.
That's right.
So that is why I say I have my favorite cow, which is Mike Cowlings, and then my second favorite cow, which is AJ Rainville. And he was a little bit of the shocker because the first day or two that we met, he was kind of the quiet one, and then he rolled into in full onesie, head to toe. It was amazing.
And then that picture, I got the picture somewhere. I should have grabbed it.
Actually, if I could interject, if someone wants to super chat Mike at least $5 because he needs gas money,
oh no,
I will put on the cow costume.
Oh no.
Oh, just so now, right now for this show.
I'll do it right now, but you need $5. Let's see if we can get $5.
Nice.
Super chat.
The infamous cow costume.
And I will say, by that night up in the suite, I think you were up in the suite both nights. I remember. I don't remember you as much the first night. I remember you there, but you weren't as outgoing. I think once the cow outfit happened, you were like. You were there in full force. I kind of recall.
I don't know if you remember much from the first night. Like many of us. I'm
going to switch which my favorite cow is.
Well, how's the audio, everybody? Because it sounds a little loud to me, but I'm just wondering how it sounds for everybody else.
Yeah, to me, both of them sound the same, but Mike was saying AJ was a little loud. So, Holly
she just did it. Now you have to.
Go get changed, my friend. Go get changed. Maybe he's going to change in front of us.
Cow suit times. There it is.
Right there. Mike is a little loud, but not bad.
All right. Well, then good.
Cow tipping. Yes, and this is what I mean by full cow out. And security came in from Bally's resort, and they were going to take him away, and they were joking around about the udders, and he turned around, put his hands behind him, take me away. It was
funny.
It was
so
awesome.
Alan K just gave you 5 cookies, AJ.
5 cookies. All right. I haven't done anything yet to deserve them. I'll take the 5 cookies.
Another $5. I think that means, Mike, you have to get in the cow outfit too, because we got another super chat from Copper Dan.
End of the chase said, "Let's milk this thing for as long as we can." Oh, nice. I get it. Here come all the puns.
Cow puns. Here we go.
$5 to take it off.
I'll take it off, but it has to be $25.
Nice.
For $25, I'll take it off.
I might not get this right, but on this morning's, I listened to a radio show on the way into work, and they always ask a trivia question, and I always think of you, AJ. But this morning, they had a riddle, which was, what kind of magic does a cow believe in?
What kind of magic does a cow believe in?
Let's see if anybody in the room
would it be movie magic? No?
No.
Oh, all right.
Anybody? All
right, what is it?
I don't have
voodoo. Like voodoo?
Oh, voodoo. Got it. I had to do moo something, so I went with movie magic. Okay.
Voodoo.
Voodoo. That's funny.
I've got jokes too.
All right, let's hear one.
What do you call a cow on a trampoline?
Keep it clean, Michael. Keep it
clean. What?
A milkshake.
Oh, okay.
They're not all good, but
we can just do jokes for an hour, right?
You know what? We started up the movie quotes the other night, and now half an hour went by, and people were still going. We tried to get on Forrest Fenn stuff, and it just never happened. I thought that was funny.
Somebody said that was utterly ridiculous.
It starts.
Right. That's too funny.
Yes.
All right. So thanks for putting the cow suit on. Thanks for the super chats, everybody. Yeah, let's talk about treasure hunts. So AJ had the idea. He said, let's just kind of go over the state of treasure hunts and where we're at. Right?
Hold on, real
Yeah,
quick.
go ahead.
Sassy is saying she has no video. Is anyone else seeing us? Is anybody else having issues? She said she refreshed.
Yeah, they do. You got to refresh then, because I can see
Okay.
it. I've got YouTube up.
Okay, I have YouTube. Okay. I just wanted to represent the chat room. I'm keeping an eye on them as you guys talk all things treasure hunts. Go ahead.
Yeah, so AJ, you want to take it away? We just wanted to talk about treasure hunts, right? Treasure hunts in general.
I'd like to talk about treasure hunts in general, and this is where I'm coming from. Is I'd like to start off that I'm not a Forrest Fenn treasure hunter. I know, it's shocking.
Sacrilege on this.
I know. I like to watch some of the YouTubers though, because it's my entertainment. And a Gypsy Kiss says that too.
Is that what you're saying?
What was that?
You're making fun of us. That's what you're saying.
No. I'm partially one of you. You know, I consider myself a treasure hunter, just not necessarily. Oh, and a treasure finder. This is something Cowlazars and I have. In addition to being cows, we're also treasure finders.
True.
I will just say, for the record, which we may discuss later, there's 3 of us in this room that have found.
That's true.
Bam! That'll come out later, though. Okay.
AJ, remind K-Pro who gave you the gold medallion. What does that mean? That was from Copper Dan.
Yeah. I tried to get at the World Series of Fenn. I walked up to AJ and I said, name your price. And he said, for the gold medallion, because it was the first one, I think first one out for Jenny's. Definitely the only one at World Series of Fenn. And he said, it's not for sale. And I said, literally, like, how many hundreds do I have? Like, I literally want it. Name your price. And he was so like, it is important to me. Like at this point, blah, 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 because about 20 minutes later, I went off. I was like, I respect you, AJ. And he was kind of quiet. So I understood. And here rolls up Copper Dan. And he's like, look what I got. And he has the coin that AJ used to own. Where this whole
just an hour before.
Yeah, it was like, okay. And then I went over and I had a little exchange, let's just say. And there is use, and all I have to say is blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, the boys did their little exchange. And I do have to say, you have a really nice piece of artwork, but you could have bought that piece of artwork for
and kept the coin. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah, the bridge.
Probably had an extra C note attached to it if you would, but I understand everyone has their way. Copper Dan brings it up every time, and he says he's sorry. He's not. He knows he's not, and neither is AJ. And I'm over it now, and we're moving on.
You're not over it, but that's okay.
But that was a custom piece, so there's something with bridges that you like, and you wanted that specifically, right?
He's a bridge builder. Like, you build bridges across the nation.
I don't know.
I'm a bridge inspector.
Okay, I knew.
Okay, like stress test and all that fun stuff.
Oh, Marty Bird says not everything's for sale.
Not everything's for sale.
I disagree. I did not put in the proper effort, not knowing what the situation. So I disagree. Everything's for sale.
Sassy, I would maybe reboot, because it's your PC. It's not YouTube. It's something going on with whatever you're viewing it on. So whether it's your phone or your PC, you might want to reboot it, because everybody else is okay. So or try and refresh. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
So I'm a treasure hunter, and I'm also a bridge inspector. And I like to think that what I do is I go out to these bridges in person and I look for defects. And to a certain respect, I feel like I'm doing my own real life Where's Waldo kind of thing, looking for these defects. I'm looking for rust and steel. I'm looking for cracks and spalls and concrete. So there's kind of a little bit of overlap in what I do and what I find. And of course, sometimes I find things under bridges and I call it bridge treasure. Other people call it trash, but that's just me.
Well, I have a question, because I know several inspectors, and I wonder if that is treasure hunting inspectors in different industries. So one's in aerospace, one is in trains, and now one is in bridges. I wonder if that is a theme, because you have to be very aware, and you have to.
It's that inquisitive nature, I think, of investigation. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, there you have it.
And this is one of the things I was looking at, and I've been sort of doing some past look at some other treasure hunts that we've done, or that has happened in the past. And it was interesting in sort of I don't want to get into the psychological stuff too much, but you're talking about sort of the inquisitive mind, the curiosity. We all have our sort of problem-solving ideas where we, prevented a roadblock of something, and you want to try to solve that problem. Now, in a certain respect, in life, sometimes it's not always cut and dry and easy, and sometimes you've got two choices to make. One is sort of bad, and one is sort of less bad. So sometimes we go into these areas like puzzles, riddles, Sudokus, crossword puzzles. We take this information, we take these things, and we sort of challenge ourselves, but it's in a very limited way. And when you solve them, you have that sense of satisfaction, even a little bit of smugness, little bit of smugness, because
right.
they're puzzles. They're trying to challenge you, and then you succeed, and you get that sort of sense of satisfaction from it. And in the treasure hunts, it's kind of hard because some of these are very difficult to do. Some of them go on for years. Sometimes people work on them for years, like a certain famous one called the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt.
Right.
And you get sort of, stuck, and people are spending, hours a day and years on these things, and they get frustrated. And, I can see that when I go to these YouTubers, or occasionally I check out the forums and things where people talk about their solves and things. And, man, I'm having a tough time. And they're either really sure, or really, if somebody's saying something that's different than what they believe, it's like, no, that's not the case. Forrest Fenn said X, Y, Z. That's not true. Right. It's interesting.
Well, I think the hardest part about the Forrest Fenn hunt, and I've said this, my first search partner quit because he said one of the hardest things is I've gone years now and there's no confirmation along the way. Forrest has said, you won't know if you have WWWH until you have the treasure chest in hand. At least for like boots on the ground clothing, at least for some of these hunts that are out there, you get some sort of confirmation. Like once you know you've cracked something, like on one of Jenny's hunts, somebody have already put it on Facebook, so this is going to be crazy. There was a code and it says treasure. It's pretty obvious when you crack a code and the word is treasure, you've got something going. I mean, it's not like, yes, oh, that's a coincidence. There's none of that, even though everyone thinks, and I know no one's frustrated. Everybody has it. They just haven't had time or don't have enough money. I get it. Or you saw it and then you left it for the next person because you're a nice person. I get it. But for the most part, no one has anything, no matter how much they think. The only thing that I will say, I completely disagree with Forrest. There's only one quote that I wish he would have never said. If you don't go with confidence, you're not going to find the treasure. We are overconfident. Everyone thinks they have it. Everybody has thought. And the cool part of when you go on a different treasure hunt, and I've now been a part of a couple, some I've gotten there and totally think I had it and I didn't, even though I knew I was close. And some I've actually found it, and or I cite one. But the confirmation, you had something. When you walk away from Forest Hunt, once you go boots on the ground, that walk of shame, it's like, I could be in a totally different state. Like I threw out the whole Yellowstone area and went to New Mexico. I find that unique to the Forrest Fenn hunt that I don't find that in the other hunts. So I've gone on too long. Go ahead. But I agree with you. AJ, well, exactly what you said, but there's my extra.
I think that's why it's gone 10 years, is there is no confirmation. I mean, if somehow somebody had a confirmer that they were right with where warm water's halt, clue one, that might get out to the community somehow. Maybe that person can't keep it a secret, or he tells somebody he shouldn't, and then they share it. And then we all know what the first clue is, if there was a confirmer built in. Now, some people think they figured it out from the poem, and they know the confirmer, and they know they're right, but obviously nobody's found it yet.
I mean, so. Try the wheel. You know you have it. You've got it locked in.
All I'll say about, you know about the try the wheel message in the poem, AJ? So... all I'll say is it's in the poem. Is it a coincidence? Probably, sure. But it is there. It's not like I'm making it up. I mean, if you slide those lines, it's there.
That's what everyone says, though. They say something, because if you look at scrapbook 24, 192, and 67, Forrest is talking to them.
But if you say, oh, hint of riches new and old means New Mexico, no, that doesn't mean that. But try the wheel is there. Try the wheel explicitly says try the wheel. You know what I mean? Now, it's probably a coincidence. I'm not saying Forrest Fenn deliberately did it, but maybe he did.
Okay, so what I will just say, just to illustrate the point, yes, yours is actual confirmation, Mike. No one else's is.
Let me just say, I'm imagining us in however many years, we're in the treasure hunting retirement home.
Together.
Mike is going to be there in the walker. Try the wheel.
This is going to be a Cowlazars sippy cup.
Moo, moo. That's what we're going to be doing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Pretty much.
true. But here's the thing. So I went out boots on the ground for The Secret. When I've gone boots on the ground on The Secret, I still feel it's in the same location because there's so many confirmers of where I believe it is. I just didn't hone in on the actual spot. For Forrest Fenn's hunt, I think many have walked away. And yes, there's some that have gone hundreds of searches in their exact spot, but many have been able to jump because how many times has someone come in 2 weeks in and said, I've got it solved. I can't believe you guys didn't.
Right.
It's so easy. Right. Yeah, just eat your humble pie when you come back, and somebody's got to get it. So I'm not being too cynical, but
We hope.
I don't think if you've been there, like been in the hunt 2 weeks, it's like just. I mean, I had somebody email me, it's caliente 2 weeks, and I thought you're like along with 100,000 people, but
Right.
go for it. Just when you walk back from that walk of shame, I do have to say I was bitter once or twice when I've walked back from the walk of shame, but I wasn't on other hunts, which is just. I don't know. It's interesting. What about you, Mike? When you did the fifth booth on the ground?
The Red Rock, yeah.
Yeah, before your final one, were you like bitter?
Red Rock, the boots on the ground treasure hunt was interesting because there was a confirmer on where to park. So I knew I was parking at the right parking lot because there was a confirmer in his clues that this is it. I know I'm parked in the right spot. Now you've got all of Red Rock and about 8 different trails that go from that parking lot. How do I know I'm on the right one? But at least I knew that part was right. So there was a confirmer. For the Forrest Fenn thing, I mean, you don't have no confirmer. We don't even know which state it's in. So, and I think that's why it's lasted so long.
Everyone knows.
Yeah, but they don't know. The only one who knows is Forrest Fenn, and he's not helping us out. So that's why it goes so long. I think the last Grand Adventure I did, when people sent me their answers in, I told them how many they had right, which I think now is a mistake. That's why it was over so quick. Because once somebody realized, oh, I got this right, it spread, and they traded answers. People put answers on eBay and sold them. Actually, sold them for $5. The answers to one of my Grand Adventures. So. I think you don't do confirmers, I think is the way to go. But go ahead, AJ.
I want to ask you, Mr. Cowlazars, about after you found the final treasure for the boots on the ground clothing treasure hunt you found outside of Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. What was your feeling after the fact? Were you relieved? Were you excited for maybe 5 minutes? Were you excited for 5 hours?
Right. No, I was happy. Yeah. Well, really, I was happy to find it because I was in that area and didn't see it the 4th day. I was right there. Like, where's the circle of gold? Yeah. No, the first 3 days I was totally off. I wasn't even close. I went way in the wrong direction.
No, but I'm asking about after you found it.
Yeah, after I got it. Oh, I was happy that I finally put the clues together. It made sense. We found it. Yeah, it was a great feeling of.
He was relieved to take the Skechers off.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But here we are months from now.
Right.
How do you feel? What do you feel about it now?
I'm happy to say that I finally found one of these treasure hunts.
You finally found
Just
one.
Like you said, we're treasure finders, right? So I'm happy at least to say I found something. It happened to be here where I live, which helps, but at least I found something.
Sure. But what I'm trying to get at is that there's kind of that initial euphoria, but then after the fact, you're like, okay, now what?
Yeah, after the fact, it's on to the next one. Like, what's the next one? Yeah, what else is there? What else can I find? Yeah.
I'm saying you're working on these things. You're either in the armchair, hours and hours trying to figure out the clues. You're either the type with treasure hunt. Some of them you have to go on boots on the ground. Sometimes you don't. You're spending this time and effort, but once you get it, that feeling is great initially. But then it's like, okay, now what? Yeah. And this is where I want to get back to K-Pro. So I found that one stone, which was near me, which helpfully it was near me. But after the fact, and other than the stone itself, I don't really have a connection to the gold medallion itself.
Oh, I see.
So I'm saying that, and even if Sassy is in the room, she can talk about a little bit. What was after she found the David Blaine treasure hunt? Mm-hmm. There's the initial euphoria. And she had all kinds of other issues with people trying to
Right.
trying to sue and everything. But there's that initial euphoria, but then after the fact, it's like, okay, I figured it out, but now what?
Well, let's flip
Right.
it for a second. Mike had solved one of Jenny's other hunts that happened to be about 3 hours for me. And he's like, can you get off work? Can you get off work? And I couldn't. So I waited until about 4, and maybe I snuck out a little smidge early. I had the kids packed in the car, and I'm like, we're on our way. We literally were going out the driveway because he got it down to the spot, and he said, someone just announced it.
They
and I have
found
to
it.
tell you, it didn't matter to me that we knew exactly the spot. There was no love. There was nothing. There wasn't like, oh, we had it solved. We just didn't get the little medallion. No, there was no love. There was unhappiness at every turn. Like I had snacks. I was going to do the 3-hour drive, back, and it sucked on every level. So
You're either in first place or in your last place.
Yeah, right.
There's no in between.
And we're all last place in the Forrest Fenn one, currently.
Yes.
So
or you're all in first place right now. However, glass half full,
right.
glass half empty.
We're all the lead searcher in our own mind. That's true.
Yeah.
But I also think that the more people have time in it. There's people that have been physically boots on the ground for the last 8 years looking for the Forrest Fenn thing. So I think for them, if they actually found it, it would be a lot bigger sense of relief and euphoria, and because of the time they invested.
I understand that, and this is where you yourself have been told, my goodness, Cowlazars has never gone boots on the ground.
Right.
But in my mind is like, this is a realist. He's
right, exactly. Yeah.
Until he has a good idea that there's something out there.
Right.
In my mind, it's like, okay, this is a practical guy.
Wait. Now I'm going to take not offense, but I'm going to take a different perspective on what you said. Mike, I believe you believe it's out there. But until you have an exact spot that you feel confident enough to shell out those thousands of bucks because you're not in the area, you're not going. But you've always believed it's out there.
Yeah, no, I believe the Forrest Fenn treasure's there. Even if I knew 100% I know where warm waters halt, like if there was a confirmer, if there was some kind of confirmer that I believed, I would go to where warm waters halt just to check it out, just to see if maybe I could figure out where I'm at. But I haven't found one. Of all the people who sent me stuff, I've never seen one to go, oh yeah, that makes sense, that's it. I just it could be it, but so could 15 others. I'm not going to go to 15 different places. So if there's no confirmer, I may never make a trip, because I'll go on vacation, just like when we go to Yellowstone, it's a vacation, but I'm not going to put a bunch of money into, I don't know. Just like the boots on the ground thing, I knew it was at Red Rock, and I knew where the parking spot was. You could tell by those riddles that you were in the right place. That's different. If I had that for any treasure hunt, I would keep going to keep looking.
So out of your 4 or 5, this is an interesting discussion. After your 4 or 5 times boots on the ground for the Red Rock hunt, the boots on the ground floating hunt, were you ever bitter day to day? Like,
yeah.
Were you like, it's not here, this is a hoax?
No, I was like, I can't find it. Like, apparently I'm doing something wrong. I never questioned it. The only thing I thought is maybe somebody had found it already. But again, there was a circle of gold, so I should at least be able to find that, even if somebody had already dug up the treasure. So hopefully, whatever Forrest Fenn's blaze is, it'll still be there for people to find the blaze after the treasure is found. Right? And, would you make that trip if it all comes out, the solution comes out? Would you want to see it?
I think it was my 3rd trip where I was like, after the first one, I felt dumb because I was like, oh, I was a new searcher. I went through and then the second one, I'm like, okay, I've really got it. 3rd time, I was bitter Betty. I went on I was like, this is a hoax, and like everybody does. Somebody must have gotten it and blah, 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 blah. And I knew like I had been corresponding with I was bitter Betty for, I don't know, maybe a month or 2. A couple of the vets on the forums are like, this isn't like you. I'm like, I'll get over it. And I eventually got over it. I got a new solve and all that. But I was third time was not a charm for me. 3rd time was bitter Betty. Like, something's wrong with this hunt. But AJ, so why aren't you a Forrest Fenn treasure hunter? Do you think?
Okay. The big question.
Yeah.
And So I like to, of the treasure hunts, and there's enough of them out there that there's a variety where you can sort of pick what you want. And I'm going to steal the Cowlazars analogy, is that armchair treasure hunts is an amusement park.
Yep.
The Forrest Fenn treasure hunt is the big roller coaster.
Right.
That's the one that gets everybody into the amusement park.
Everybody's lined up for that one. Yeah.
Everybody's lined up for that one. They want to take the ride, but there's a whole bunch of other ones around in the park. There's the tilt wheel. Yep. There's the bumper cars, whatever.
Breakfast, tea, and bourbon bumper cars are shut down.
Breakfast, tea, and bourbon
right?
Shut down.
It's been found. Yeah, but that's a good analogy. Yeah.
So I was sort of brought into this via the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt, but it's kind of turned me off after the fact. And one of them is, for example, your boots on the ground clothing and the Jenny Kyle Forrest Fenn gold medallions. Is there's a proxy item, and there's a definite sense when something is found.
Yes.
Everybody,
and there's closure.
There's closure. Yeah. Yes, and I've used this term on my videos. Maybe not everybody likes it, but I call it treasure hunting blue balls. I don't want treasure hunting blue balls.
That's hilarious.
So.
Okay, can you?
I'm getting
sorry.
it on a T-shirt.
Explain that a little bit for what?
Yeah, K-Pro's not going to understand, but go ahead.
Treasure hunting.
I know the concept.
Oh, okay. So there's a sense of closure.
Yeah.
There's
or you could say a big release. You need a big release by finding the treasure.
So you have the proxy item. You have a conclusion. So I either like the proxy item, or I like the kind where additional hints and clues are given.
The treasure for Forrest Fenn's hunt.
Well, no, the treasure's the treasure. There is no proxy item.
Yeah, the treasure is the treasure. So that's one of the things. And one of the other things that this is me personally. This is my opinion. Take it as you will. We're entitled to our opinions, as I recall. But the treasure is too large. And there's a term that K-Pro has used in the past, and I didn't realize what it was till recently. It was the 7%ers, where I just found out what it was looking in some Forrest Fenn stuff later on. Apparently 7% of the world is crazy.
Yep.
And apparently a lot of those 7%ers are in the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt. I'm sure K-Pro has had to deal with that. I know K-Pro has done that personally.
I think that's magnified in the Forrest Fenn hunt. It's more than 7%. But
there's a sense where I don't want to badmouth people, but there is some that are sort of the get-rich-quick people. They want to, all I have to do is figure out this poem.
Yeah. It's gold fever, right?
Gold fever, yes. Yeah. But there's also the fact that I'll see a posting where somebody will say, my father is sick. He can't pay his medical bills. I've scraped together $500. I'm going to Colorado to figure it out. And it's like, that's
ridiculous. Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but you can at least understand these are dreamers or they're willing to take that risk to go out there. Do that kind of thing.
You're calling someone ridiculous as you're in a
Rusty
Nipple says as he says this wearing a cow suit.
No, but
I'm entitled to my opinion, and I'm entitled to be crazy myself.
AJ's pragmatic. That's all, right?
I push myself into the 7% at the same time.
I do think it's an interesting point, because if you're in a $500 treasure hunt or $1,000 treasure hunt, you are not looking to transform your life. The stakes are not so high that you are willing to maim, kill, mortgage your home, neglect your family, et cetera, et cetera. And there's die. I mean, there's people that have died, all those things, because $500 isn't going to, it is truly it is really nice to go, here's the coin, baby. But it's not, like you just said, AJ, it's not about the coin. It's about, and you get a few $100s in your pocket. It's about the satisfaction.
Or a nice copper piece of art, yeah.
Right.
But AJ, how far did you travel for that, and how many trips did you make for the gold medallion?
That was 2 separate days. The first day I went to Shenandoah National Park.
And how many hours away from you is that?
That's about 3 hours away.
Okay.
I went to every entrance to the park, and it wasn't the right thing, but it was one of those things. I woke up, I saw the clues, it's like, oh.
Yeah, there
aren't too many parks in Virginia that have a fee to get in, where they need the stop sign and everything.
A national park, yeah, okay.
National park. And so I just stopped right there. I didn't figure out the clues even at that point. I didn't figure them out later on either. But so I got in my truck. I drove down there. Went to everyone who wasn't there. There was no stone wall. So I said, okay, I'll figure something out. And I figured it out in the evening of the next day, and where I did a little bit of Google searching, Google Foo, and I was able to figure it out. And I said, okay, well, it's evening now. I'll go out next morning and get it. And man, I didn't sleep at all that night.
So you got caught up in it a little bit. I mean,
yeah.
But that was more for the satisfaction than I need that to pay rent or eat, or some people have just parlayed it.
Yeah, it was
a question from the room that I want to ask you both that kind of relates.
And then I got a comment.
What is the amount of money for a treasure hunt that you think would be free of the 7%? 5,000, 10,000, etc. So like once you get over that amount, it then becomes an obsession. It is the same as a gambling holic, alcoholic, drugaholic, aholic, whatever it is.
I have a number.
Oh, tell us.
It's 50,000, as because that was the breakfast tea and bourbon.
Yep.
And that went smoothly. There was no major issues that I know of.
Right.
Of that. And the reason I say that is because we can go to the 100,000, which was the David Blaine treasure hunt, and that one had issues.
Oh,
that had the crazy.
Right.
Okay, now
that's
don't
true.
you? Okay, so I'd like to question this. I agree with you on the 100,000, but let's go back to breakfast tea and bourbon. I was a part of breakfast tea and bourbon until I felt like a commodity, and there was some. I do not put any malintent with Pete, but when I start getting so much crap in the mail, and I start getting so many spammed emails on his learning,
I still get that stuff in the mail.
I do also.
I actually, I did a legal document. I've never gotten it since. I let him know if I receive any more. These are the entities that you. I mean, I have enough. And I just said, cut it out. And he said that he was going to put out that video upon purchase.
Right.
And then
of him hiding the treasure. Yeah.
Yeah.
He changed his mind, and I think in retrospect it was correct. In retrospect.
That turned a lot of people off, though. Yeah.
But I can see where it's turned people off. I see that outside. Yeah.
The other piece that he did that turned me off is he said, I remember the one hunt, he said, the one video, I'm a businessman. If enough people don't get involved in this, there won't be a business model for me. Tell your friend.
But isn't
translated to me,
right.
You are a dollar figure, and I need bring in competitors to what you're doing. Between those three things, it was like strike 1, 2, 3. I got out early. I do have to say that's the best book I've ever read, though, of a treasure hunting book. It was such a fun read. I really enjoyed it, but those three things, we're cynics in the treasure hunting community.
Oh,
those
sure.
Three things turn me off in a way that I'll probably come back because I see how great it turned out. I'll probably come back if he does another, but I'm not even working on his riddle right now because I'm still like, I mean, once you tell somebody, like, legally, if you send me one more, I'm going to take an example out of you. And they did. They took me off. I don't get anything learning technologies anymore or strategies or whatever.
Well, to get sort of back a little bit to the title of the show, The Future of Treasure Hunts. So Pete Bissonnette wrote a book. He got it published. I don't know what the costs involved are that.
Right.
But looking back, did he have a sponsorship to have those particular bourbon, that particular wine?
Right.
I don't know if he had a sponsorship, but am I worried or think that, worried about that relationship? It's like, I'm okay if that got the book out.
Yeah. Well, to me, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I'm just saying the write an armchair treasure hunt book with a treasure hunt with a prize. That one was a $50,000 one. What is the sort of the future? Because I see people write a book, they release the book, the treasure is found, and then there's no follow up. There's no sequel to it.
Right.
I love these things, but are people going to keep doing these? Are we going to have a millionaire like Forrest Fenn to do something and then is not worried about the costs and publishing and all that, and just
I think that's rare. Yeah, it's rare to find somebody that can do it.
And I've been open about this, and I've touched on it, and Mike and I have talked about it a ton, and there's a few other people, especially in the room, that I've talked to. I believe we're at the forefront of a new market, much like reality, where they put the goggles on and they walk around. This is one of those new, we're on the very leading edge of it. Forrest did not do it for the market because of how he did it. I do think he does have a market with his books, and even though he's not getting it, he has so much money. It's his grandkids. It's still in the family. But
he has his motives. It's just not money. He did it for the legacy, in my opinion.
I still think there's some money pieces that.
Well, that could be. Okay.
Says he's not. But I do think the model has not been fully developed to the point, but it's being refined. Breakfast Tea and Bourbon did it in a way. Jenny's done it in a way. Mike's done it in a way. Everybody's done it. We're doing it with a free coin, but is it through monetization, which that doesn't break you even.
Yeah.
There's all these other ways, but I think you're hitting a really interesting point. I think we're hitting the beginning of defining the business model. I think the market is there because there's enough of us that love to do it. We love to do escape rooms.
Yeah.
We love to do puzzles, but the treasure hunting model. Somebody was on Shark Tank, and they came up with an app. Is that the new? Would that be the way? I think I think it's interesting because if it is that it has to turn a profit to get to the next one, I think that changes. We have to then, we can't be like Forrest, no confirmation, sorry, drop out if you don't like it. You have to cater to the industry. You have to know what works and what doesn't, what turns people on and off, the customers' likes and dislikes.
So I'll just say real quick, my own 2 cents as far as Pete Bissonnette. I look at it as just being honest. Hey, everybody, I did this treasure hunt, but I need you to get the word out so that I can do more. I didn't look at that as a negative thing. I look at it as just being honest. But as long as somebody who does a treasure hunt follows through with what they said, I did hide something. It is there. You could be questionable on could I find it by the clues in the book, but somebody did find it. They did get $50,000. So to me, that was a successful treasure hunt. You may not, and Pete had an ulterior motive. He wanted to promote his company and all that. I understand that part, but I don't have a problem with that. That's all.
Well, and I don't have a huge problem with that. But when you say, as long as he follows through with what he says,
the video, yeah,
he will have a video.
Yeah,
and the video never. And he gave a couple different explanations. If he just would have said, I decide, he said a few things like it's coming, and then he said no because it give away too much.
Yeah.
If he would have said that at the beginning, I know some people.
Yeah, he made a mistake. Yeah.
I don't think it was huge, but the treasure hunters are relentless. They're not going to give benefit of the doubt. It really needs to be thought through. That's why I enjoy these silver coin hunts. We've made some mistakes. There's no question. Let's do it with a little bitty because we are.
That's why we're doing them to learn, to understand. Yeah.
With Pete Bissonnette and Breakfast Tea and Bourbon, or anybody that writes an armchair treasure hunt book, there's a certain risk that's involved in a treasure hunt book. Mm-hmm. If the Breakfast Tea and Bourbon treasure hunt was solved in the first week, he would have had barely any book sales.
Right.
So
and that's actually the biggest issue of all treasure hunts. You got to put it in your own mind, just like Forrest. Do you remember Jenny's hunts? Did you do Jenny's first round of hunts, the Scarabs? It was like 3.
I can say I tried, but I didn't get very far.
They were hard, right? Yeah, they were pretty hard.
But this was the hard part. I bought 3. I think it was like $5 each or 3 for $10. So I bought all 3. The first one, Beth solved in like a day. The second one, she solved in an hour. The third one, I didn't even start because by the time I got home from work, I just emailed everybody and said, did Beth already solve this one? And it took her like an extra few days. But I hate to say, that's like worst case scenario. Like you've put all this time and all of it in. You don't want to share it with a lot of people to get their perspective. Can you crack this? But then it's solved in an hour. I mean, Beth is the treasure hunting whisperer. She cracks all these. But she cracks all these. And how do you get around someone cracking it within an hour? And
you
that's
tough. Change up the clues, I guess. Make it harder or make it different, I guess. Yeah.
Beth also released a book. And it was solved within like a day or two. All of the different.
You did?
Beth herself wrote a book.
Oh, that's right. The Art of Hidden Messages. Remember, she had that treasure hunt that was solved in like a day.
I thought it was
like a painting. Oh no, it was a book. You're right.
It was a book, but it was interesting.
I have it. It's here somewhere. Yeah, I've got it.
I have it also, but I have barely opened it because by the time I received it, I got a refund saying it's already been solved, and so here's the refund. But I still get the book anyways, and so I was like, well,
I bought this to do the Mike and I talked about doing the final cipher in here.
Right.
Before I got it, somebody had put it up and cracked it.
But isn't the $500 treasure hunt still
going? I was
going
to say, no one's talked about the $500. Everyone was focused on the words from Forrest Fenn. No one's talking about $500. And as far as I know, that one still hasn't been solved yet. It's supposed to be the same method.
And Jenny just announced her new book. She showed her cover, which is going to have coded words from Forrest and another $500 treasure hunt. So maybe we get that one and we work on it in the show or something.
I didn't know about the five. And some people were really upset because here's something that's happened. And it's happened on a couple different hunts. So you have this and you have these forums. I own one of them. People are out and discussing these. Should you put out, there was one of Jenny's hunts that someone said, I'm nowhere near this one, but here it was like within
the answer.
Hour. Put up the entire answer. Somebody put up this answer. Someone had an issue that Mike and I were even going to discuss.
Right.
And wrote Jenny and said, don't allow them. Well, everybody can discuss. It's like
you can't control that. Yeah.
And especially if you put information out, that's called the World Wide Web. It's out there. So Should people collaborate? And that's actually what Mike and I are talking about. Is that cheating or is that not cheating? And is there a way to get around it? If you're trying to develop a hunt, do you want someone to collaborate, or is there a way to set the rules that it is helpful or hurtful? There was one of them that said, if anybody is caught
Map of
discussing
the
on
dead.
floor,
Yeah.
Map of the dead.
Map of the
And they
dead. He
won't
said
be,
in
like,
his rules, you can't work
eliminated.
with other people, and it's like, well, how do you know? Like, can you prevent that?
Yeah.
You know, you can't. So yeah.
On a related note, if you think about the escape rooms, the one takeaway that I took, even though we lost,
Right.
we lost.
Right.
My team lost.
Who won?
I need to get that. See,
that
one thing I know about
it was his
PayPro.
birthday. He won.
All right.
Everything is competitive with KPro, so I had to put that up front. But the interesting thing I took away from it is you take a group of people, you put them on a single task to solve the task, and I was thinking if I was just put in that room by myself,
Right.
I wouldn't have gone half as far.
Right.
Because maybe it's because my job, I only work with maybe one other person at the same time. But when you get a group of people together, they move. You can get a lot done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
everybody's focused on the same task.
The last one that we just did in Vegas, there was 12 of us.
Yeah.
And so the literature out there says that the perfect group is between 4 and 8. It's actually about 5 to 6, and you have to have diverse minds, etc. We had 12. And I will say there was always 3 or 4 of us sitting back, just frustrated, going, "Oh my gosh!" Because we were all sitting around a little tiny lock, trying to say, "No, do it this way, do it that."
Yeah.
And once you had 12 strong personalities of all treasure hunters in a room, we were awful. We didn't even get close. Now, Mike picked the hardest room, kind of thinking.
I thought we were going to do it. I guess not.
He had some of the reigning champions from the previous World Series of Fenn. Yeah, he didn't get that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it is interesting. I mean, when you make a treasure hunt, you got to make it hard, but not too hard. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, the Forrest Fenn thing, that could go forever. I mean, I know everybody thinks they know where it is. I just got an email from somebody who said, I'm watching your show and I know where it is. You know what I mean? It's like, do you? Well, I don't know if you do or not, but nobody's found it yet. Put it that way. In 9 years, nobody's found it yet. So
it's been 9 years. What do you think if nothing's changed in 5 or 10 years, mm-hmm. what do you think will be anything with the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt? Will people still... will the level of interest go down a little bit, or is it
right?
I don't know.
I think it is not dependent on the amount of years. It is dependent on, in my opinion, one thing: Forrest Fenn living or passing. He's going to eventually pass. That's just a function. I'm not being disrespectful, mm-hmm. but when he passes, I think this is going to become a myth to many, and most will drop out. He's been too involved, and so some will think he hasn't passed it on, or if there's not a set strategy. So I think it will go from, I believe that there are about 5,000 hardcore treasure hunters for the Forrest Fenn. There's lots on the outskirts, but about 5,000. I think that'll drop to maybe 500. My opinion.
And that's another thing with treasure hunts is when you create a treasure hunt, are you public about it and you correspond with searchers and you meet with them, or do you step back and go, there it is, I'm not going to talk to anybody? Because the Beacon Star, you familiar with the Beacon Star, AJ?
I know of it.
Yeah, it's a great book. I have it. There's something. It's in the Denver, Colorado area, unless everybody's totally wrong, and it's $5,000 plus a gold coin. I mean, it's not 500. It's 5,000. But I know of maybe 2 people that are working on it because the author came out on his Facebook page and said, "I don't answer emails, and I'm not going to deal with anybody. Good luck. It's there. Good luck." And he stepped back. And he even quoted, because I've seen how Forrest Fenn has run into some issues, and I'm not going to deal with searchers. But because of that, it doesn't drum up the interest. So which way do you go? One extreme or the other? So hopefully in the middle, but...
Well, so the other example, in the middle, it's like being kind of pregnant. You're either in or you're out. It's one or the other from a legal standpoint. If you are involved, and this is where I think we've had some missed opportunity with Sassy. I've seen Sassy on a couple shows, I think, or at least one. I would like to know what the lawsuits were about. There was multiple lawsuits. Was any of them that David Blaine was involved? Because everybody knows Forrest Fenn's been involved at so many different levels, secret recording, this and that, and information. He meets with some searchers. He doesn't meet with others. He's had public events. He's had private events. When that happens, does that legally open up the possibility? I would love to know if any of them were. I don't know if any of these treasure hunts have said somebody cheated through that kind
Masquerade, right? As far as cheating.
Oh
Masquerade,
yeah,
right?
Masquerade is an example.
Some controversy, yeah.
With some
Okay,
controversy
tell me
to
about
it.
that. I don't know about that.
Masquerade.
Well, I know Masquerade, but I know that's like the famous.
1979. That's like the book that started all this, right?
1979. It sold over 1 million copies.
Wow.
It was a buried treasure in the UK, and it sold. Even outside the UK, people were crazy about this thing. It was a jewel buried underground, and people were digging all over the UK for this thing. It also took 2.5 years to solve, and it's an interesting story. And I bought a book
that people were digging.
Oh, is that the book about the solution? Say it again, K-Pro.
What was the controversy of Masquerade? That people were digging up stuff, or that there was cheaters, or
the gentleman who found it, he got some information from an old girlfriend from
I did
inside information.
Yeah. And he sent a letter to Kit Williams, and Kit Williams said, "Hey, you're super close." Even though the guy didn't solve any of the puzzles, he just got lucky.
Right.
And Kit Williams, who was getting all these letters in the mail, he found like, oh, let me call him up and say, hey, you're really close. He didn't realize at the time that he was just sort of a lucky guy, and he figured some things out, outside the rules, so to speak.
I think the UK searchers are crazier than us. I think there's a lot more people involved. That Quest for Treasure website, I mean, it's got a lot of members, and I think people in the UK, when the hunt's in the UK, there's a lot of people that get involved over there. But maybe because Masquerade started it all, in their country. So
yeah, and the book that I've been sort of poring over is sort of a retrospective. It doesn't talk about the controversy, but it talks about how the treasure hunt was made. But more interesting to me is the people, and how people would take a solution, and they would go down their rabbit hole, and they would go start digging up some park somewhere. They don't find it, and so they go back home and they work again. Sometimes they worked on groups, sometimes they were individuals. And with it taking 2.5 years, and the level of passion, people did go bankrupt. It was said that people spent a lot of money, people from other countries to the UK. And I see sort of the parallels of the Masquerade, where, because it took so long, plus the treasure was buried. Okay, maybe it's not buried, hidden for Forrest Fenn, but there was a treasure that was out there to be found. It took a long time for people to figure it out. And then the aftermath.
What year was that found?
It was found, I think it was 82.
Okay,
it came out in 79.
3 years.
Before the forums, etc.
Yeah, before the internet.
Before internet.
Right. I'm sure that, like, right now we have entire hate forums related to Forrest Fenn. He's a fraud. He's a jerk. He's a this. He's like forums and blogs.
I went and looked, and it's not there, so therefore it doesn't exist, because I knew I was right. That's
exactly. All the people that are just haters of, they don't just leave the chase. It sounds like Masquerade, maybe a couple sued, but they didn't have the avenue to be able to put out the anti, like, I don't know if this happened with David Blaine's or not, but some of the other searches of, even like Jenny's. Once they announced within an hour of the first one, and then a couple hours the second one, that was like, oh heck. I mean, like, why even work on the third one? And so the fast-pacedness of the internet has changed, I think, the expectations of finders and how the whole model is going to work. The model's still being developed.
And look at the parallel between Masquerade and Forrest Fenn's treasure. The person who found the treasure talked to his ex-girlfriend, or had a little bit of inside knowledge about a location, right? Like, he kind of knew the area. Well, what did Forrest Fenn say about the 200-foot searcher? I didn't know he knew me so well. Right? That person, I don't think that person solved the poem. I think that person knew Forrest Fenn and said, I bet you it's here somewhere. I'm going to go out there on a trip. That person doesn't want to find the treasure, but he was right. He did know Forrest Fenn to know at least a general location. You're shaking your head, K-Pro. You don't believe that?
Well, there's a big difference between the guy that got a little bit of a hint and found it,
right,
and this 200-footer that has been out there that everybody is going in circles, and yes, I was one of them. Does a 200-footer even exist?
Well, Forrest said it. I mean, I don't think Forrest would make it up. Forrest didn't say.
Forrest. He has said many things that are complete contradictions.
Well, then, if that's the case, then why do you believe that he hid the treasure chest? If you're
Exactly. That's
not,
exactly
well, see,
the point. No,
when Forrest Fenn says something, I usually take him at his word. But
no, I do take him at his word. So if
Yeah.
I give you, and there is a thread that's on several of the forums of things that he has said have exactly contradicted each other. How do you explain that? I think he's used to the 85-15. He is not used to being held to every single word. He likes to tell a story. Like when he tells a
Right.
story and says, it was raining that day back in 1962, and then he goes on, somebody looks it up in the almanac and it wasn't raining that day. Is he a liar? Is there no chest out there? No, of course not. He's used to fudging it and just telling a story. But I don't think he's
encyclopedia
every word being well, Terry Scant. Every single word has been transcribed.
Right. And that's because it's in the internet, the age of the internet. That's possible.
Yeah.
We're here talking to all these people, about different things. So let me ask you this, AJ. Have you ever thought of creating your own treasure hunt? You're a puzzle kind of guy.
A puzzle kind of guy, but I've been, because I'm a puzzle kind of guy, I've been sort of reading some articles on puzzles and things. I don't know if you know Will Shortz. He's the New York Times crossword puzzle editor.
Oh, okay.
I've read some articles, and he's been talking about some of the best people that solve puzzles in the United States are not the same people who are the best puzzle setters in the United States.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It's kind of like a different mindset.
Interesting.
You asked Pete Bissonnette if he has other treasure hunt books, and he says yes. Right. But then you asked him if he's worked on any of them. He said no.
Yeah, that's true, well, right? Yeah.
It's very similar because I've done some research in this area. The best engineers, the boss of the engineers is not the best engineer. The best
right.
Not managed. Those are different skill sets. So I think it's very similar. They're very different.
That's like me and K-Pro. She's like, I don't get ciphers. I don't understand your grand adventure. It doesn't make sense. Quit it. And I'm like, but there's people who do, and then there's different types of people. So really, you need a treasure hunt that incorporates everything, I think, to be a really good treasure hunt. Different components for everybody.
Like wordplay, and you're like, I just don't.
Yeah.
I'm like, but
kind of like the current hunt that's out right now.
Hey, the current hunt is out there. I made it. It has not been cracked yet because this brain.
Right. Well, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see.
Crazy brain. I have a crazy brain. I don't have a smart brain. I have a crazy brain.
Well, lateral thinking is the thing that I'm trying to get everybody to work on. And this is.
You're exactly right. When Forrest Fenn says you have to think different things, imagination is more important than knowledge. I think you're exactly right.
Well, and I got my first cookie in your okay. So
and I watch it today. I watched your Monday video today.
So here's one of the challenges that I have with your riddles is you guys will be in there. Maybe if I had a couple minutes, I could try to think. You guys solve them like within 3 seconds. And you've been doing a good job lately because you've been like, okay, if it says magic, it's probably not magic. It's a wordplay that might do this or might, or if it says tree, it probably means leaves or tree, whatever it is. But that's the hard part is do you just have to do them again and again? Or is there a way to explain the logic to be able to try to train them?
It's not logic. It's lateral thinking.
Okay. Lateral thinking. Is there a way to explain that to be able to refine the skill of lateral thinking?
Well,
or do you have to be born with it?
No. In my opinion, lateral thinking is a skill, not a talent. I try to say that in each video that I do, and we have a lot of fun doing these puzzles and riddles. But I want to think that we're gaining some either vocabulary or some different mode of thinking. Like if I asked you, let's see, we had a difficult one. What is difficult to gain but easy to lose? It was 6 letters, and we couldn't figure it out. But of course, a lot of the people that come into my live stream, they're problem solvers, and you give them a problem that's not fixed. They come back later on. I think I asked them that time, maybe you can figure it out, put it in my comments below. You can figure it out.
Right. And
they figured it out. What was difficult to gain but easy to lose? It was 6 letters. It was muscle.
Ah, okay.
I see somebody put trust. I was going to bring up a 5-letter one. Somebody already put trust in the thing. There was a 5-letter one, and trust. Something
money.
difficult to gain but easy to lose. So if you're asking, how do I get better? How do I figure these things out? I think it's just kind of practice. Maybe if you want to do some puzzles that are more lateral thinking instead of logical thinking. The one that I was looking at, and the one I want to get good at, and I'm not good at yet, is cryptic crosswords. It's the crossword puzzles that we're familiar with in the United States. They're more general knowledge, and there's less sort of puzzling thing. There's more wordplay, and wordplay is where the term that I put into a Google search engine to figure out how can I get better at wordplay, and it took me across cryptic crosswords.
Yeah, those are great. I looked at those when I did the last Grand Adventure, where I kind of had a crossword puzzle. Those are interesting. I really like those. Yeah,
they're interesting, but they are difficult to get into because there's UK knowledge of mountains and rivers, and there's cricket, and there's abbreviations.
It's different. Yeah.
So it's different in the the learning curve is tough to start out. But I do want to get better at these because I want to get better at wordplay. Wordplay, for an example, if I can go back just for you, Forrest Fenn treasure hunt, warm water salt, everybody's favorite 3 words.
Yep.
And Cowlazars, you mentioned one time, well, warm water's halt at the letter S. Right. So you have the letter S.
Wordplay, right? Yeah.
Wordplay. Yeah. So now, if it's S, where do you go from there? And I'll throw it out to you two. Where ideas do you go?
In the canyon down, just like Try the Wheel. You go down in the poem. Yeah.
Okay, the down. Oh, you mean literally down?
Literally.
From S.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
You're trying the wheel again.
Crossword. Yeah. So you mean out in the wild? Where do you go?
No. I'm saying the letter S. We're dealing with wordplay.
Okay.
With the letter S, where do you go from there?
The next letter. The next letter in the alphabet.
Oh, you're saying the second clue is...
would be T, right?
Okay. I was more thinking, you've got S. Could it be that there's a geologic or geographic thing that starts with S?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Look at it that way. Okay.
Yes.
So like a bend in a river or something like that?
A bend in the river, yes. That's lateral thinking. There's a curve in a river somewhere.
Yeah. Or if there was S Lake. You know what I mean? Like if there was S Lake or something that sounds Snake Lake or, I understand. See, that's interesting.
In cryptic crosswords, they use a lot of abbreviations. What could an abbreviation of S be? South.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
South Mountain, South Lake, South Falls, something like that.
Right.
Another thing in cryptic crosswords, they take numbers like 0 for O, 1 for I. Mm-hmm. What does an S look like? 5.
Yeah.
Is there a five corners? I'm not saying any of this is true.
Right. But it's a different way to look at the poem, and you might have just hit upon the way to solve it because Forrest says, think different things. You got to look at it differently.
All these clues, you can take them as you want, but if you're still working on them in 4 hours, consult a physician.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So another idea. So an S looks like a snake. Mm-hmm. There's a Snake River that goes through Wyoming.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that's...
You tip your toe in it, and is it warm?
Right.
Just kidding. Sorry, didn't.
So I'm just saying these are examples of things in wordplay that could be used in treasure hunts as well.
Well, like as I've gone alone in there, maybe many people believe ASI as I is Isa Lake spelled backwards. Mm-hmm. So Isa, which is Isa Lake. So same thing. WWWH. Mine was Walla Wildlife Habitat. That was my WWWH for a while because he always says WWWH rather than Where Worms Water Halts sometimes. So
that's good logical thinking.
Yes, and none of it's worked, but it works on other hunts. Yeah.
So is there a treasure hunt that you're working on currently, like actively trying to find other than the Jenny medallions?
There is the Treasure Man caches.
Oh, yeah. There is one in West Virginia, isn't there?
There's one in West Virginia.
Interesting.
I've made 3 trips and I've had 3 walks of shame.
Okay.
I have an idea of possibly where it might be, but I don't want to do it by myself. It's kind of dangerous.
Okay.
Really
can a Capro Flatlander I didn't realize we are so close as we are. I don't know if
we're not that close.
Well, it's a train is lickety split.
A train? Who takes a train? Any day anymore? Doesn't he have difficulty number of skulls for his caches? Is it one of the more difficult ones? Yeah.
It's one of the more difficult ones. It's also one where it's not buried and you need a metal detector. So in addition to it being in my home state of West Virginia, it's and under a bridge because
It is. He said it's under a bridge.
Well, he doesn't say it's in the New River Gorge area, which is the famous New River Gorge Bridge.
He got a secret hint. It's under a bridge.
Now, okay, just to change the conversation for a minute, because you're into
Mhm.
bridges, Mothman prophecy. Do you know about the Mothman? Was that New Jersey or was that West Virginia?
That one is West Virginia.
Where the
Yes.
bridge collapsed, right?
That bridge, and actually, that's
Yeah.
the start. I don't want to get you all into bridge geek stuff, but that was the start of the bridge inspection program in the United States.
Right,
The collapse of the Silver Bridge in West Virginia. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, as soon as you said bridge in West Virginia, I went to the Mothman prophecy. Yeah, I'm like, I read about that. John Keel's book back in the 70s. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
And if I can steer the conversation even a different way, so I'm kind of interested how both of you got into this. Because I know Mike has been working on these for a long time, but I know you kind of like, I don't know, is it conspiracy theories or stuff, or mysteries, unsolved mysteries, and that what brought you there? I'm kind of interested how you both got into this, because this is kind of psychological stuff, but I'm kind of interested. Yeah, and I don't know if you said it before.
I have, but but go ahead, Mike, you first.
For me, I mean, I've always been into conspiracy stuff. Area 51, Bob Lazar, UFOs, all that stuff's great. And then I think it's maybe a little bit of a leap, but to get into treasure hunting, for me, it was I was involved in the Mysterious Stranger David Blaine book, but when on the forums or whatever, when people said, oh, it's in California, well, I was in Michigan at the time, so I said, okay, I'm out. But when I moved to Las Vegas in 2008, there was a treasure hunt that was here in Vegas. That's really how I got into treasure hunts. And I met the author, and he had a little forum, and I used to type up notes from when we would have meetings at Starbucks and stuff. I should have started a YouTube channel back then. But I didn't. But that's how I kind of got hooked on treasure hunts. And then once the Vegas Die one was over, which nobody found, but I was the closest. I was outside the building it was in. On the 12.org, on the forum, back then it was kind of popular. There was a lot more people posting back then. And I just went through it and got into Forrest Fenn that way. Just saw one of the posts and got the books. I was married at the time, so really didn't spend that much time into it. But once I got divorced, it was October of 2013, I think, 15, when I put up the first vlog, and I just kind of went from there. But for me, it was being in a city that actually had a treasure hunt where I knew, hey, I can find this. This is in my city. That's kind of how I got into treasure hunts.
Interesting.
Well, and for me, it's completely opposite. All I did was work and hang out with my kids. I had no hobbies at all. I was very boring. And my family member called me, and he is a total adventurer. He's a gold hunter. His life is fantastic. And well, we just took different paths in life. I went corporate route. He went kind of entrepreneur, always does what he wants. And he called me and he said, I don't trust anyone to go with me. Will you please go boots on the ground? And I said, what does boots on the ground mean? And I'm like, I have boots.
You didn't even know it.
No, I didn't. And he's like, please Google Forrest Fenn. And I Googled Forrest Fenn. I said, so some guy, I said, you're the biggest cynic in the world. Some guy says that he put $1 million treasure chest out there and you just believe it. And he's like, just do a vacation for me. And our mom had just died. And so he was like, will you go with me? And I'm like, okay. So I went to Yellowstone. Well, I started training, and I've told this story. I will keep it very short. I was 75 pounds heavier. And so I started training because I told him I can't make it. Like, I was just really out of shape. And so I had dropped maybe 30, 40 pounds. I don't remember. And I emailed Forrest Fenn. And I said, here's somebody who wants me to go out with him. Here's my story about my mom. Here's a story about why I need to go with him. And I want to go, but I don't want to be unsafe. And that's when Forrest put out his surprise words of, if you're walking long distances, you're walking too far. And he emailed me and he said, get your butt out there. I mean, he said it much nicer than that. He's like, get your butt out there. And once I did one boots on the ground, and my family member knew, he's like, you're either 0 or 100. I'm kind of compulsive. So he's like, you're going to like go head hardcore into this hunt if you get into it. And he's right. So, and he's now no longer in the chase. He checks in every 6 months or so. And it's really cool because I actually believe him and Sean Dotson have the same minds. I believe I don't know this, but Sean Dotson, I believe, has a photographic memory. And so does him. And I'll be able to call him and say, here's a quote. Can you tell me where it is? And he'll say, grab TTOTC. It's page 16, bottom right-hand corner, third line down. And he knows because he has a photographic memory. So he's perfect to have as a resource, because I can say, where's this quote, or where's it? And he'll say, oh, grab it here, or oh, grab it there. And then I didn't get into any other hunts until really Mike. And now Mike's like, oh, here's this huge stack of books, and that all happened. Everything
are treasure hunts.
Jamie Jordan drawing for me. So, yeah.
And what about you, AJ?
I like to do hiking And I want to say there was an article in either Outside Magazine or Backpacker Magazine where it talked about the Forrest Fenn treasure because it's the Rocky Mountains. You know, the Rocky Mountains is an amazing place to go hiking, to go outdoors. Whether you're looking for treasure or anything.
Yeah.
I even made a trip to Idaho and Montana last summer just to go hiking because it's not something I get to do very often, go that far, but it's just a nice place. And I read about this. Oh, this is interesting. You know, I'm kind of that. You know, I like to do jigsaw puzzles and things. I like to try to figure it out.
Me too.
And so I was like, oh, okay. And I even shuffled some papers around recently, and I found I printed out Dale Neitzel's cheat sheet.
Right.
The things, the facts that you had to know, and I printed out the poem, and I did find that in my old information.
Now, do you both consider yourself introverts?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. So I wonder how many, like, looking at the treasure hunters that came to the World Series of Fenn, I think it was kind of a split house. It was either really introverted or really extroverted. I didn't feel like there was a lot in between. And maybe it was crowd. I don't know. But I thought it was interesting because, I mean, that's why Mike and I are like polar opposites, introvert, extrovert. So, but did you feel that in the room, AJ, when you like, or the suite or anywhere that from the World Series of Fenn? It seemed like people were nobody was kind of in, I feel like they were extreme personalities.
Well, it was a first time thing for me. and the whole event itself was the first time. Everybody's kind of feeling everybody out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you came out. I'm glad everybody came out. It's just fun to meet fellow searchers. But the other thing that I think Forrest Fenn uses the term maverick, but I think the term gambler applies. You know, I live in Las Vegas, and there's a little bit of, hey, I'm going to go find this thing before everybody else does.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? And I know Capro's a gambler, so I think there's a little bit of that. Like, Forrest uses the term maverick, but I think gambler applies. He says four aces and a joker, or whatever his saying is. It's on the back of his shirt.
Well, competitive.
So it's I'm going to beat you to the treasure. There's a little bit of that competitive spirit.
Yeah, a little bit of competitive. As long as we're keeping it a hobby and not sort of a job.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm going to name drop Davio only because he's mentioned that he spends 40 hours a week on working on the stuff, and you know that's I'm not going to fault Davio or anybody else who's spending 40 hours a week on trying to figure out the Forrest Fenn treasure. But maybe you can just spend 5 hours of that working on something else.
Yeah, I mean, there's other treasure hunts that might be easier to find.
But I flipped that a little bit. When I got really frustrated last summer-ish time frame, maybe early summer, I flipped from I am going to do a ton of research over to the social aspect. And that's when the Jamie drawing, World Series of Fenn, that's why we're doing all these hunts. That is when, and I have been checked out of doing hardcore research. I only do a few hours a week now, but I still spend a ton of time in the hunt, but it's doing all of the what I consider more of the social side, which is that's given me the break. And some weeks I'll dive right back into my notes, like you said, and some of the scrapbooks that I noted before and that sort of thing. But so I don't think it's necessarily as much in the hunt, because the hunt's become my community of friends. I still have some friends outside the community, but when I have a slow day, I like to call or text one of my, like, okay, what's new out there? What's going on? And I'll have, like, after every show, and Mike knows, there's usually an hour or two of conversations that happen after every show between phone, email, and text. And that's just my social network of people. And that is actually better for an extrovert. I don't need the hardcore research. I do need the social aspect. And that's what's been really, really helpful to me.
Let me ask you something sort of more of a general question. So we're a whole bunch of treasure hunters. There's the whatever multi-million-dollar treasure that's hidden somewhere in the Rockies north of Santa Fe. Why is it that everybody gets together and talks things over? Why do we all talk about different puzzles and clues, or what our feeling on certain things? Why do we do this?
Well, first of all, because we're crazy. I mean, how many people and say, I'm a treasure hunter? Like, I don't, everybody knows the situation. Like, people know now, but I don't, like, say, hey, everyone, I'm a treasure hunter when I go, like, out to like, the local little pub. But you all get it. Like, it's not only what we are, but there's a piece that's really identifiable in who I am, that I wear as a badge of honor, but only people would get.
A lot of people don't get it.
Crazy. Yeah.
When I first had the idea for this coin and got this in, when I got them in, I took one into work and I said, look, everybody, this is the idea. I made this. And they're all like, oh, okay. Like, they just walked away. Like, They don't understand what you're talking about. You're crazy. You're not going to sell those. You know what I mean? Like I don't have any. Well, there's some searchers that live here in Vegas, but for my everyday friends, they just don't get it. All my friends from high school back in Michigan, none of them watch these videos. None of them are interested in the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt. They're just like, there's nothing out there. They just totally dismiss it. And it's so, I think that aspect of meeting with people that get it is part of it.
So you're saying we share this information because there's none of the people that are close to us tend to be the ones that care.
Yeah, none of the
so we share
people.
Well, I think a little bit. I think the reason that we have a social aspect to this game is because we identify with each other. I do not believe, well, there's two things. People that have their own solve, I do not believe they share the good information. I think everybody has maybe one piece of really good information. They may share some stuff, they don't share all of it. Great example. I share a lot, and especially my old solves, I've given all of it out. Did I openly and discuss widely the tipping your toe in it? No. And the 200 footer, no, because I thought it was something that would get, and eventually it all came out. And yes, I had told some, but not others. And there's a few in my network.
Part of the game, I
right.
think.
And so I think in general, like there's a few people in this room that have shared some really critical pieces of their solve, but they will not in an open. But I have seen them at the World Series of Fenn, and they're like, here's all my secrets. And I was like, no, there's that one. And they're like, and I'm like, okay,
yeah.
I mean, I don't tell other people's secrets unless it's recorded. I won't.
The Forrest Fenn treasure hunt is not Monopoly. It's not, I'm going to try and gather as many properties, or I'm going to try and go on so many boots on the ground. It's Clue, where I have a checklist, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's not that person. It's not that person. I think people hold their cards kind of close.
But it's even more than that. Second place is first loser. So you can't share everything. And I have a
some do and some don't. Yeah. I mean, I've gotten emails where people just lay the whole thing out just because they saw me on YouTube and they're like, you're a good guy. You go get it. Well, what if they were right and I did go get it? And what if I was like, sorry, I wouldn't do that. But I mean, people don't really know me. They know Cowlazars. But
well, I told the story it was like early summer that I went boots on the ground and I discarded my solve, and I didn't want to lose the search season. So I went up on Thor and said, is anybody ready to partner up or get rid of their solve? I had 100 people send me their stuff. And of course, half of them were like, you're going to steal it after they shared it with me. And I found one and I was like, I'm going to go out boots on the ground for you because you did miss something that I saw a little bit different. And that's how I got my last search partner of, okay, never went boots on the ground with him, but he told me his entire solve because he had just come back from the walk of shame and he missed something when he took all of his pictures. He missed something. He's like, would you go and find that? And I said, yes. And that's how I met Forrest. That was my first time out in New Mexico. So I think there's two answers to AJ. I think it's the social piece where we have a commonality, but the second is how many people could say in this chat room, you have told another searcher, not a family member, etc., every single secret in your solve, every single something that no one knows, like super secret information. Yes. Say yes if you have given some other searcher every single bit of information. Nope. William says nope. And here's the thing. I have a very, very, very close person that stays off the blog, stays off of everything, searcher. This person will not tell me one bit, but has said, I need a search partner. I'm picking you up at the airport and you are going to go with me. And I've said, okay, will not give me any piece of it, but need someone to go. And I'm going to go, but that's how much I'm like, you can tell me I'm not going to go. And they're like, no, I don't even want the opportunity of issues. You're just going to arrive at the airport. That's all you're going to know. I'm like, it sounds so like DB Cooper, like, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I have know nothing. I don't even know I kind of know what state, but it's up north. I'm just going to arrive and I'm going to be boots on the ground and hopefully I don't die. I mean, I just like, okay, let's do it. Sounds like fun. See, everybody's saying no.
That they don't give out everything, right?
They don't give out everything.
Right. So well, that makes sense. I mean, there's only one winner, so.
AJ, we're all sitting around a room, and here's the psychological part. So we're all sitting around a room. We're sharing the stuff that's low-hanging fruit, and then we're saying, We're smarter than all you people. I'm smarter. I have super secret information that no one else.
Think of Breakfast Tea and Bourbon. You remember, AJ? It was finally put on whatever forum. Was it Mysterious Writings? That Hot Springs. If you take those 2 letters from each of that nonsensical phrase, comes up to Hot Springs. Now, nobody came out, I don't think, right away and said Hot Springs, Arkansas. But a lot of people were like, I think this is it. It spells out Hot Springs. I mean, I could have gotten on the plane and flew out there before Coy found it, but I know some people who were like, I went and I didn't find it, and I just trusted that, okay, maybe that's not it. Now I wish I would have at least tried, but
Ho daddy tis tis Butterfly, South Georgia.
Right.
And it was it's called an acrostic.
A little bit, AJ.
It bugs me because it's so obvious, and it's one of those things where, okay, I need to step up my game a little bit somehow.
We all totally overcomplicated it, but he had so many red herrings in that book, it was totally easy to overcomplicate it. But I think that's part of a treasure hunt. I mean,
and
whoever makes it,
they hate them so much they run away from them. They would never buy them. They don't want nothing to do with them, Mike.
Dan.
It was to get back to K-Pro's idea of people sort of working together. I kind of had an idea, sort of a funny little video, but it's kind of interesting anyways. I'm not going to make this video, but I thought it was interesting. We need to have a Forrest Fenn treasure hunter Tinder app for people to hook up, work together. You get into the app, you say, I am a kitchen sink Karen. I am looking for a code breaker Charlie.
Right.
And you can swipe left or swipe right.
That's awesome.
Get work together. Because again, this gets back to the escape room. People who work together, they can do so much more than if you're by yourself. But I think a lot of the people that work on these treasure hunts, they work on them by themselves.
Right.
And
they might be missing that one piece that somebody else can get.
Yeah. You need that sort of other angles, or we all got our different perspectives.
There's been people that have proposed it. I think on Chase Chat, like, let's get a group of 20 people together, and we're gonna, privately, we're going to share everything, and if we find it, we split it. But then people are like, well, but then how do you know somebody doesn't go behind your back and go look and all
make
that?
A contract. I mean, Egyptian said make a contract. I mean, I can see that. That's fine. But I think K-Pro has been asked this before, and I'll speak for you for a little bit. But people have different levels of interest. There are people that are willing to take a whole summer off and to go out there and to find stuff. There's people that are willing to go one day. They fly out. I've only got one day. That's all the time I can take off. Or their just level of interest is not quite the same. So it's kind of hard to bring people to have the same level of interest to get together. So I understand in a practical sense it's not possible. But I like my sort of what a Tinder app. I was going to call it Fender.
That's hilarious. Swipe right or left on your solution. Like, where is your warm waters? Oh, left.
Yeah. You can say I'm a Colorado search. I'm a Wyoming.
What state you're in? You could be categorized in so many different ways. How many boots on the ground do you have? Oh, 0, left. Yeah, exactly. That's hilarious.
Wow. It's kind of like, what is it? Farmers only. So it's like treasures only. So you have to be a treasure hunter.
Like Jew date, isn't that what they call it for Jewish people? Jew date or whatever it is. Yeah, it's a real app for Jewish people that are looking for other Jewish people. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Well, so here's the thing. It's interesting you bring up this point, AJ. I believe if everybody took their little bit that they will never share with anyone, and let's say we took 100 searchers, I believe this would be solved. But no one will do that. No one will honestly do that. They will come with their 99%. They will not come with their last 1% that they think breaks. That is the reason that everything is what it is.
Unless you can trust somebody, but trust is a hard thing, especially when it comes to $1 million treasure.
Okay, so when I first came into the hunt, and after I did Ojo Caliente, because everybody does that first, I started partnering up and asking people, do you guys want to partner up? And I was on Chase Chat at the time. I had 2 people come forward that said they knew each other, and we were going to be a trio and try to solve the hunt. Well, through a odd situation, one of them emailed me, but it was as the other person. It came out that they were the same person.
They were using 2 different email addresses to gain information. Yeah, there's scammers.
And I was very grumpy.
I would have posted it for everybody to know about.
Well, the funny part is, and
it's funny.
Hopefully he doesn't watch this. He's on Thor.
And you know who it is for sure.
Well, I know he came over and he's like, he dropped the other handle.
Does he know you know?
Oh, I lit him up.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know if you.
Yeah. Third, and I just found out this guy doesn't even exist, and he's like, "Well, he does, but he's in my mind, and I'm doing double the work."
What?
Like I had some thoughts for him, and
Yeah,
now
it's-
he's on Thor, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is fun." So the stories that you can get, I would be I have never done an dating app, but would I be swiping left to say go away to him, or is that a swipe right? But I would be going go away. So I'm shocked he came over to Thor after. I mean, we had a pretty hardcore falling out because we had shared everything, and then I was not happy to find out. So yeah, but you know what? So treasure hunters are a little mischievous. It's not a shock. So
what I want to do, AJ, if you're willing, and K-Pro, again, I just spring things on you on live YouTube. I want to do a show where we just look at the poem and talk about the wordplay that you talked about, like where warm waters halt on the S, just on Forrest Fenn's poem. I got an email from Steven, shout out to Steven, who gave me a little doc on how you would create a poem using wordplay. And he said, use this in your vlog. So I'd like to talk about that at a future time. We'll figure out when. But I think it's interesting because to me, like you say, the S on waters, that's different thinking, lateral thinking, it's imagination. The phrase, not far, but too far to walk. To me, it almost seems like too far to walk. We're supposed to come up with a word and replace that. What does too far to walk mean? Like he's trying to convey something else, not just drive. It's a different word, like but what? But too far to walk. What does he mean by that? So just maybe if you want to do a show, we could just talk about alternate possibilities with the poem.
Well, and have you ever? Okay, this tells you how many rabbit holes I've gone down. Have you ever put the poem into a translator and like translated it to Spanish and then translated it back?
No, I put it in Excel. You guys know that, but that's about as far as I've gone.
And especially if you translate it from English to Spanish.
Well,
Spanish
Mrs. Ford was a Spanish teacher, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of, and if you actually walk through TTOT and go through the different names and where then you can translate it to like 4 different languages and then back to English. It is amazing the words that come up, and they couldn't be coincidence. Like your try the wheel, it is how you crack this part. No,
coincidences are.
But is that specialized knowledge? Yes, of course. But it is fun to when you talk about different words and what they mean and all that.
Well, I suspect that's basically a synonyms that taking the same word and then it's a different term of the same thing. So when it goes from one translator back, it doesn't use the same word; it uses a similar synonym. Is my guess is what that happens.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the tools that are out there are becoming better and better over time. So, because if you would have done it, I think 5 or 8 years ago, I think you would get a different answer than you do now in some of those like Google translators and things. So, but I just think it's interesting because yes, it's exactly like the context of words don't get picked up at certain times and that sort of thing. So, yeah. Okay.
So our little contest we had, did you say it was at the start of the show or at the end of the show? Did you ever specify?
Yeah, it does. Let's ask AJ. So at the start of the show, we were at 97. I know we're over 100 now.
Subscribers to the AJ Rainville YouTube channel for the contest. So the question is, did we say before we go live tonight or after we're done?
I think this has been such a good show. We should say those 100 people, you need to put all their names in a hat and go live and draw one.
Oh, I thought you were doing that, K-Pro.
I would need well, if you get me the names, AJ, I will do it.
Wait, you mean they got to be a subscriber? What I thought you were going to do is just take everybody that was in the chat from last Monday's video.
That's what you said last
pull it and then check with AJ and say, is this person subscribed to your channel? That type thing.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah. I recommend you go whoever has chatted because maybe Cowlazars doesn't know this, but if you subscribe to someone and you have your settings to private, I don't know
gotcha.
who you are.
On YouTube? Oh, I didn't even know you could do that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know you can block somebody in that way, but I didn't know you could make it private. Oh.
I can give an example where there's a channel called Cowlazars, and he doesn't share any of his subscriptions. I suspect he has like PewDiePie or some subscriptions he doesn't want people to know about, so I can understand that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, you can. I got you. Now I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Nobody needs to know what I'm looking at in the middle of the night. Yeah.
I gotta go check my privacy settings.
And actually, I didn't even know that was on private, but I probably did that a long time ago when I first set the channel up. But so in other words, we would have to give you the screen name, and then you tell us if they're a subscriber or not. Okay, you'll be able to check on your own channel.
I'm saying I don't know who all of my subscribers are.
No, you don't know. No, there's a list. No, you can tell. You can see who's subscribed to your channel.
Some of the people that have made them public, yes, but not 100%.
Okay, you
okay.
techie guys.
Well,
Maybe.
I don't know.
Everybody that's in there, and you
That's why I'm saying whoever commented
Yeah.
on the previous video, either
Right.
in the live chat or after the fact, I'm saying that's my recommendation is those are who should be in the contest.
Oh, and look
Oh yeah,
who
it's
just
only going to be the people in the
arrived.
chat room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
Hi, Toby. Toby from
Oh,
the
AJK. How you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're just a little tiny bit late. He's probably just coming in from the poker room. And hey, Toby, somebody's playing in the World Series of Poker. I hope you are too. So anybody, so things happening in the next. So we have that contest that's going on. We have the logo contest, the K Pro Cow logo contest.
Yeah.
And if you have not submitted, a few people have. They've kind of slowed down a little bit. We're going to give it another, I think, 2 weeks. If you have ideas, keep them coming in. There's been some really creative. We're looking for a new logo, K-Pro, Cowlazars. It could be Thor, 24K. Put those together. Put a logo.
Something
with
simple
it.
though. Something simple.
Something simple.
Yeah.
Keep it. So yes, that one's going on. We're looking for a new contest. So I just posted on Facebook. I've just posted on Thor. If you have an idea, I will say, Mike said, what about the Grand Adventure? No, this is something that literally could be like 10 seconds, like best knock joke related to the chase. Like come in and subscribe to AJ show, like 10 seconds. Like this should not take a lot of time. This is just something fun for everyone. So if you have ideas, email me at kpro3@aol.com or put them in the comments, or we'll get another contest going. We should probably announce. So there was this great Forrest Fenn posted on Dow's site. I don't know if you guys saw it.
Oh yeah, a little controversy. Do you see that, AJ?
So
On Dale's blog.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So he posted that the treasure's been found, and I'm putting in another site. Had some misspelling, so everybody knew it was
for free. He's going to give the solution for free, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dale probably just stepped away from his computer for a couple hours. Heaven forbid. So my phone started lighting up.
Yeah,
and
I got a couple emails and text messages too. Has it been found? It's
yeah,
no.
I emailed Forrest, and thank goodness it was like 10 seconds. He emailed back and said nope. So I hit all the thing, and Dale eventually took it off. And no, it has not been found. And remember, Forrest has said where it's going to be announced: hintofriches.com. And I know there's about 1,000 people that check in every day. I think they check in anyway, probably, but they check in. It'll be on that top bar, and it will say treasure chest found. But it'll be on all the forums within 9 seconds. See what I did there? 9 seconds.
Hey.
So, anyway, let's see. Function in the Junction. It is coming up. And Mike, there's been some question. Are you going to the
function? Somebody asked me, are you going to the Function in the Junction? And I thought they meant Femboree, so I said no. So yes, I'll be at Function in the Junction. Unless for some reason I can't, I'll be there. Yeah,
well,
June
and then we
21st, June 22nd.
They emailed me and said, Mike's not going. That's such a bummer. I'm like, no, Mike's going.
You're like, what? Yeah.
And I'm like, I kind of know Mike a little bit. And they're like, well, I just corresponded with them. I'm like, so then I text Mike. I'm like, did you cancel? And he's like, no,
I'll be there.
Okay.
I'm going boots on the ground. I'm going to go jump in Ojo Caliente or something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, I think we have to get like a full-fledged solve, and I'm going to talk to you about that.
I'm going to go to Madison Junction and be like, how the hell is this where warm waters halt? This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Because that's probably the most popular one that I've heard, is that's where warm waters halt. So
yeah, right at Fire.
I have to look for Snake. I like the S idea, AJ.
Yeah, so Function in the Junction, if you want to know all the details, we have a Friday night event, a Saturday day event, a Saturday night event. There's 3 events. We have gotten a couple of little items donated, but they're donated from Forrest, so of course they're going to be wonderful. Cynthia, the famous book that has the double X's, she's going to be bringing that for everybody to sign on the page that you think's important. And of course, all of us treasure hunters lie and put it on a different page to say, no, but it will be there, and then they're going to give that away. And I think Cynthia's doing both the Friday. I've heard she's the one coordinating 2 of the different events. I don't know which one it's at. But anyway, go up on Hint of Riches and see. We have about, I want to say between 20 and 25 RSVP'd for the Function in the Junction, which is awesome. So, we're excited about that.
Jay Minnesota says, what time and what hotel is the F and the J? I guess that's the abbreviated Function in the Junction. The F and the J. There's going to be no F's and J's going on at the Function at the Junction. But she's wondering if there's a particular place that, if we said details like be here at this time, or are we not saying that yet?
Yeah, we haven't said the times yet.
But where?
But on Friday night, I
we don't know the detail. Yeah, we don't have the details.
No, we have the details. I think Friday night the Bullwinkle. Yes, we have all of that.
Okay.
You should. There's a great website, Mike. You should try.
Hint of Riches.
It's called Hint of Riches, and it's also Dale Neitzel. It's up on Dale Neitzel's site.
Okay.
And several of the sites, and we just don't have times. We have like dinner. I think I said around 6, but
they need times. I know. We'll figure it out. You need to say this is the time. Be there or be late. Be there, be on time, be early, whatever. Jay Minnesota said she went to Hint of Riches but didn't see it on there, so I don't know what to tell her.
I will make sure that it is in. Mike will make sure it's in the comment section because he's going to check in at hintofriches.com.
I'll post the link. That's right. So that's what I'll start doing in the description of each video from now until then. I'll post the link to where you can get the details.
I will say, Janet, it is very difficult on Hint of Riches because there's so much activity. In one day, the front page turns over and it falls off the front page because of the amount of activity of good treasure hunting talk. So I understand how once Mike gets it and puts it up, it will be there for all to see.
So I want to show this real quick. Copper Dan has got another map on eBay. So you guys can't see this, but I'm showing the people right here. It's got a silver coin inlaid in that copper frame. The too far to walk map. Nice piece for somebody's wall. $200 is the opening bid, and he just loaded it. So I think it's going to end Thursday during the show next week. So if anybody needs one, I have mine coming in the mail. I had Dan make me one, so I will show it to you guys when I get it. And similar to that, but that's Ojo Caliente actually, Topo map. This will be the too far to walk map. So
nice.
Just wanted to show. I don't think there's anything else on eBay. So
we have 2 treasure hunts going on right now. I mean, everybody's talking about
2019 coins.
But AJ, are you working on the silver ones?
Could be in West Virginia. You never know.
Let me just say, there's with K-Pro's hunt, it might be in Massachusetts based on the first line. Yeah. Maybe Massachusetts.
I don't know, but
you know what?
I don't know either. But I'm just
cheating, AJ.
I think there's another angle though. It says masses, and then there's which possibly could be Bible verses. Maybe it's like church related. Maybe it's in New York by St. Patrick's Cathedral. I don't know. She didn't tell me where she put it. I don't know. I'm exempt from playing.
And you know what?
So.
I want no lawsuits. I'm not like Forrest Fenn. I'm just.
And then the video. I'm surprised the 50 video hasn't been found yet, but.
Well, I think there's some people I think there's some people that have figured it out that aren't close, and I think there's some people that are close that haven't figured it out.
Yeah, right. Isn't that how it always is? Yeah, that's true.
More connections with people.
Right.
Well, and I do have to say, 2 or 3 people
need that app.
emailed me and said, can you hook me up with a person that's close? I do know a lot of people, but Mike and I talked.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Getting involved from here on, especially if I said, oh, it's AJ, and then, oh, you've had AJ on your show. Why did you let AJ?
Yeah, it's like favoritism, so.
Right, so I need to stay complete. I'll say, yes, I know people, but go to Hint of Riches and
don't respond. But yeah, you guys got to figure these out on your own.
I want to explain why.
Gypsy's Kiss says AJ just hit 100 subscribers, so congrats. Now we got to get you to 1,000. Then you can get monetized. Then you got cell phones and new tennis shoes and all kinds of things. A new cow suit, all kinds of things could happen.
I want to thank you to K-Pro for having the contest. I didn't ask for that. And I appreciate it very much.
I will make that clear. He didn't even know about it.
I didn't know about that. A Gypsy's Kiss also. Toby on his own yesterday on both shows. He gave me a shout out. He didn't mention the contest, and I like that he didn't mention the contest. But I appreciate all the help. My show, it's a lot of fun.
And I'm going to show the channel right now because I show some people like, where is it? What is it? It's like, I'm going to show it right now. That is AJ Rainville's channel. A space J space Rainville, all one word. And if you go to videos, he's live every Monday. Is it more often than Monday or just Monday? There's one with Pete Bissonnette right there.
Just Monday.
So,
but we have a lot of fun. We work on puzzles and riddles, and in my opinion, this is the great way to improve our lateral thinking and get better at some of these treasure hunts.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, that's what got me hooked. And you know what? If you ever really want to feel dumb, go in there because you have AJ, Holy, Silver Fox, Jimmy Fast. They compete on who answers it in 1.2 seconds versus 1.4. And I'm one of those that haven't even read the whole question or heard the whole question to digest it. And it humbles you really quickly.
Yeah, but it's not. You're making it competitive again. It's not a competition. we work together. I like.
Cookies, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I have my neat little gimmick where I give the little cookies out, but that's just again, it's a gimmick. But we, if we don't figure it out, we kind of work out some of the solutions. And even I try to, like you're saying, I sort of word out a couple things. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that, and then someone takes it the next step and then finishes it off. We have a lot of fun. It's not a competition. We're all trying to get better at these things, and that's
life is.
We just have a load of fun with it.
Somebody asked, I think it was Larry, who's selling maps. I will tell you, we not only have topo maps, but we also have the benchmark maps. We have them cheaper than Benchmark can provide them to you. So that's Mike's side of the house. So if you do want a map, ask Mike.
Yeah, we have them for sale. We have the books for sale. We got this T-shirt for sale. I think there's 2 left. We have this on a hoodie, all kinds of stuff. Somebody just asked, so I'm going to post the link to the. I forget how much. It's on the website. Let me look it up because I forget.
Yeah, and we have
there's also the Cowlazars coffee cup.
Oh, I have mine.
Yep.
That's like my favorite thing. See?
Somebody said, I wanted the logo on the side. Well, now you can get it on the side. So instead of the front, you can get both sides if you want. Yeah. So.
And in case you didn't see
post
this
the
last
link.
time, I got this cool little cow thing because it reminds me of cow. It's an antique cow toy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I just posted the link. That's the stuff we have for sale if anybody's interested in that. I am going to put some of the Forrest Fenn topo maps on eBay, I think. I think maybe I'll put, I don't know, I'll come up with something, 10, whatever. So.
Well, and I love it. This is the cool part. Mike and I usually agree that we start them in $1 because
the auctions,
it's called market demand. It's an amazing thing. Yes, it's called capitalism, and so market demand. Right. And so if it goes for $5 or it goes for $500, it's whatever the market demands. So you're going to see some stuff up there. So you might get a really good deal. So keep an eye. And I'll give a shout out to. Oh, Copper Dan, I hope I think it's Marvel Gaze. It's Forrest Fenn Marvel's Gaze Facebook. If you're into
Facebook group,
all the different odds and ends of things, I think he checks Facebook at least, or not Facebook, eBay a couple times a day, and will put up new items there. And it's kind of cool that, so you'll see like some people went and they sold their
poker chip.
Yeah,
you got it.
They had the poker chip and they sold it.
That was from this World Series of Fenn. Yeah, you got yours, AJ?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like I've said before, guys, support people who do treasure hunts. So buy Jenny Kyle's new book when it comes out. Purchase one of these maps from Copper Dan. He's done treasure hunts. Me and K-Pro have stuff for sale. Everybody that's doing treasure hunts,
Yeah,
do what you can. Do what you can.
That's it. So go and subscribe to that one and all the Facebooks, because I can tell you, I think the treasure hunters, for the most part, that are on Facebook are not. That's good.
And if you go to, sorry, K-Pro, if you go to AJ Rainville's YouTube channel, you can see the video where he found the very first Jenny Kyle gold medallion. And we just got a super chat from a Gypsy's Kiss. Thank you, Toby. What should I do with this hot tamale? What does that mean? Hot tamale.
You gotta watch a Gypsy's Kiss is what you got to do.
Did something happen today?
I missed it then. Yeah, I missed it. And go to a Gypsy's Kiss and subscribe. Toby and Shelly do a lot of stuff on treasure hunts as well. So AGK Media on YouTube.
Oh my gosh!
For sure.
They're
back to a Gypsy's Kiss now. But that's
Charles Chapman says Cowlazars needs a cha-ching sound wave.
Yeah. Well, we don't have the full and the music and all of that good stuff.
Did that come with the cow suit? That's funny.
You know what? You could probably sell that cow suit on eBay.
Hey, if somebody sends me a cow suit, I will wear it in the vlog. It could be. More importantly, I was just going to say, more importantly, send K-Pro a cow suit and make her wear it.
The super chats would have to be large. No.
But I still want to do the Forrest Fenn marathon, the Forrest Fenn chat marathon. I don't have a date yet, but I'm thinking maybe Saturday, May 18th. We just start at noon and, we just talk. And it just, I know, next week we'll lock it in for sure if we can do it.
I was going to say,
I know. But again, I don't expect anybody to be on for a full 8 or 9 hours. Just come in and out when you can. I may show some of my old vlogs and just play them so people get breaks or whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, like we had today, let's just talk about treasure hunts. It'll be mostly Forrest Fenn, but we can talk about other things.
But I think it'd be cool if people wanted to reserve a spot. So if AJ wanted to come in, I call intermission for the hardcore Fenners, like if it was 12 to 8, at 4 o'clock, AJ comes in, the hardcore Fenners can run to the bathroom and then run back. Any of it. But I think it'd be cool to have like little reserved spots for people that wanted to talk about WWWH or a certain scrapbook or whatever it is.
Maybe that's what we could talk about, the wordplay in the poem. feet, but it's backwards. It shows backwards on the video.
What do you think that means?
Teef, T-E-E-F, or F-E-E-T.
No, it's foot over foot, feet over feet. One foot over the other. One foot in front of the other.
Nope.
No, I'm getting close.
About 2 left feet.
Oh, 2 left feet. That's rebus, right?
Rebus, yes.
Yeah, we can talk about those. Those are pretty cool too. I don't think I've ever seen a treasure hunt that's rebus based, right?
Mike, Larry's saying no Canada shipping. Yeah, there is, because we ship. Well, Mike ships, so Mike ships all over the world.
What are we talking about?
I think he's talking about
anything off the website. I'll ship it. If you're going to pay for the shipping, I'll ship it anywhere. And some of our eBay listings, I think people are saying, hey, it won't let me bid if I'm from Canada, and I got to figure out how to change that. But if you're ever interested in something I put on eBay, just email me. Do 12 or...
This is for Sassy.
Is this a David Blaine one?
This is another rebus, but I'm doing this for Sassy because she asked for one.
Toby started it. Thanks, Wayne. Thank you.
And feel free to ask a question if you have super chatted. Yeah. And we have some really interesting topics that are hitting the boards.
Ask K-Pro about her Forrest Fenn conversations. They can ask, right? It's a super chat. They can ask. There's nothing wrong with that.
My friend, right? You are my friend.
Bro, do 12 or. What is it? I'm not going to get it. What is it, AJ?
Sassy got it. It's foot in the door.
Foot in. I got you. Foot in the door. See, that's pretty cool. I like that.
I have to give Sassy a cookie, so I got to give me a moment.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
We're forgetting something. What else? Design logo contest.
Hasn't been found on 20.
Yeah, the treasure chest has not been found. I don't know.
Other contest. Do we want? I don't think we have time tonight. I was going to talk about the FOIA.
We got 15 minutes to make it 2 hours. Why not? If you can hang out, AJ. I mean, I'm good. It's up to you, K-Pro. Is that cow suit getting hot, or are you okay?
Yeah, it's a little warm.
I was going to say, you should probably at least take. I mean,
if anybody remembers anything from tonight, just remember the new term, treasure hunter blue balls. Is that what it was, AJ?
Yes.
And we've all had it. We all been there. High five, guys.
I was going to say the Tinder app. What, Fenner app?
Yeah, the Fender app. Fender
app, yes.
That's pretty good, too.
You surprise me every time, Mike. My God.
So,
that wouldn't have been my thing.
And I wanted to ask you also, AJ, do people get in your Discord channel? And do you have that active for every YouTube?
I have a Discord active, but I have not had anybody who had gone in yet. I think it's been enough back and forth in the chat. I guess people are willing or they don't want to try it out, but I'm not even sure if it works because I haven't had anybody go in yet, but it's okay. We can do it right over the chat.
What I'll do is Monday, see, when you go live, I'm still at work. I get out of work at 5 o'clock, your time. But when I get home, I'm going to jump in that Discord next Monday just to make sure it works. I'll talk to you, yeah. Because I got Discord for the guys I play video games with, so I've already got it installed. So I'll figure out what channel it is and join in there.
Cool.
Do these AJ puzzles for 9 hours. That's what people are asking.
We could do that for an hour. I mean, I think they're great.
You can keep a scoreboard. Not that I'm competitive, but you can keep a scoreboard for the people that stay in the whole time.
Now, somebody emailed me a crazy idea. They said, do a contest for what day this year, what day of the month the treasure chest is going to be found, and everybody can do like a $5 super chat, and whoever wins gets all the money. And I'm like, you can't do that. Like, how would that work? You know what I mean? You can't logistically. And plus, it's probably like gambling or something, kind of like football squares. So, no, I don't think we can do that. It would be fun to do something like that, but and then I said, well, it's not going to be found. So do I win on just January 1? Do I get to keep all the money when it's not found? So I thought that was kind of fun.
True Believer asks, and there's 2 of them that I wanted to bring up. What about the dude that spent $3,500 on the license investigator solve on eBay?
Wait, did that eBay auction go? Somebody bid on that?
Supposedly it did. I don't know.
Come on.
That it did. And here's the other one. Somebody posted up on Thor that someone was selling the FOIA for, I think it was either $2,000 or $3,000, and he bought it. And then he got it, and it only had one word on the page. And
it said chest. Here's a picture of the chest. Chest. The word chest.
I don't remember what the word was, but it was. And so a couple of things is one, if the market has a sucker that wants to buy these things, they can buy those things. But really, are you kidding me that you're paying $3,000 for somebody's solve that it could even be the right solve, which obviously
I mean, hey, if you have $300,000, maybe to that person it's more like $300 for us. If you have the money, go for it, but just be careful. At least everything we sell is tangible. You know, you're going to get a coin in the mail, or you're going to get a T-shirt, or you're going to get a map. It's not like an ebook that has my thoughts on where warm waters halt. It's a physical item. Any of these that are solve based or you just got to be careful. You get what you pay for.
Somebody on the forum saw that they have a book that Forrest or Cynthia has the book with the X. So he has a book that had Forrest.
Yeah.
He's like, I won't say where it is, but I'm going to sell it for $5,000.
Trying to prove that Forrest signed it at Femboree because he has pictures, and wrote the X, and I don't know. I don't know what to say about that one.
How many years? He has his own book. I mean, it's.
Well, if Forrest Fenn writes an X on anything, somebody's going to pay for it. You know what I mean? It's just
$5,000 though. Okay.
I know. That was Laddie Addy that paid $3,500 for the FOIA. Oh, so somebody just called him out. So
he did a video. He's a tuber, so he did a video. So
William says, contact me for areas not to go search for $8,000. All right, exactly. That's kind of what we're saying. Yeah, that's funny. Paying for intel. Yeah, don't pay for intel. You know, in my opinion, don't pay for intel. Warm Waters Halt is up for sale. You want to buy that, K-Pro? The website, warmwatershalt.com.
You must not know the backstory.
No, I don't. I have no idea who owns that because they used to put up those weird things, and everybody's like, "Is it Forrest?" And I'm like, "Of course it's not Forrest."
No,
I don't think Forrest is a big webmaster. Everybody.
Somebody pulled the code, and it came out. And
who owns it? You know? Oh, okay. Well, I'll talk to you when this is over then.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes you say stuff that's like kaboom. Now this is going to explode.
I have no idea.
You haven't been in the social side.
I know it's been up for 5 years or something. So, but the real question is, why is the person finally selling it? Like, I guess they had their fun and that's it. Because there wasn't like ads on it or anything. They were just doing it for fun.
Why did
I think.
go up for sale? And I believe it's still up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So some people, I just think, and it'd be interesting to know when people do quit, how many years. Like, what's the life cycle of? I think people get really hardcore into it. They peak out and then they drop off and then they quit. What is that average life?
There's peaks and valleys for sure.
5 years. You know what? The person that probably has the most is Gypsy's Kiss to know. I know they know the demographic, but I wonder if there could be a study on that piece. I don't know.
I really think that people need to take breaks from these things too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Banging your head over the same things over and over. You're going to go crazy. You have to set things aside. Maybe it's in the wintertime or something like that, but to go over the same clues over and over and over again, that's just going to make you go crazy.
Well, and that's what we will not do in the chat. Like, what is your, and then pick the clue. We will not say, like, what is Homer Brown again and again. Somebody's asking, Janet asked, why can't you say who owns it? There was a controversy on the blogs because somebody was trying to figure out who owns it, went into the code, found a guy's name or his handle, and then posted it. And then the code was changed right away. And then the person came out and said, no, it's not me. And then people were like, yes, it was you. And it became this huge controversy. And so then it was like, okay, I'm like, now that it's for sale, it just makes it funny. A study on what? A Gypsy's Kiss. Do you know, or are you able to pull any analytics on how long a searcher is subscribed maybe to a Gypsy's Kiss, or basically how long is a searcher in the Forrest Fenn hunt? Are they on average 2 years, 4 years? I know you have a lot of demographics on the average age and gender and location and that sort of thing. So I don't know. And yeah, I do think maybe this is Julie's point. Coming back gives fresh eyes. Sometimes you have to just take a break. And some people walk away for a year and then come back after a year, or at least in the off season. And I will say the off season is where it always gets kind of ugly on the blogs, or at least the forums. So a lot of people say, I check out from October 1st until February because I don't want to be involved in the drama part. And it's nice because it gives their brain a break and then they come back to fresh eyes. So I don't know. And Digital Treasure Maps is on their 3,000th break. So, yeah. We're talking about some people take breaks, especially during the off season because it gets drama filled in the off season. So they'll take off in October, and I can actually run analytics on the Thor site. And there is some people that check out for the off season, or maybe they just check in once a week. And then during the on season or the search season, they're checking in constantly because like I'm able to see how many hits and stuff on the site. I'll say our slowest month was February, and then now we're about double. So I think the height of the season though or the hype date is anytime there is a new article out. There was one article, I don't remember what it was, but it was in like late January, or it could have been World Series of Fenn. Who knows? That was fun.
Which
So
we're doing again next year. Just a heads up, everybody.
we are.
Details, yeah, it's going to be even bigger. It's going to be even better. It's going to be even more fun. I might have to have a cow suit this time. I got to find that on wherever you bought it
Actually,
from.
I think that should be a contest of it doesn't have to be a cow suit.
A
Who has
cow.
that cow
That'd be hilarious.
related?
Can you imagine we're all in the poker room with cow suits on? That'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious.
And it doesn't have to be in the poker room. There was, and again, I say this, and I think we need to do. I think we did an okay job because I think almost, other than one or two, every single searcher was up in the suite, other than one or two. So it's not just about the 3 hours of poker. Just like it's just not about the 3 hours going boots on the ground.
It's a whole experience.
It was what? It was 3 days, man.
It was also good for someone who doesn't actually search for the Forrest Fenn treasure.
Well, there you go.
You wanted to come too.
Yeah,
for sure.
Awesome.
I like the community part of it, and that's I'm not the most social guy that's out there, and so I really had a lot of fun.
I was gonna say by the end, I would say the Saturday night, vaguely I remember you knew lots of people. I would not have put you as the introvert. Friday night, I do remember. I was like, I wonder if he has a solve and he's just listening. But then by Saturday night, well, and especially after
I'm a spy.
Yeah, there you go.
Who you were? Oh, I got accosted there of. Okay, Toby just bought a house. You just dropped out, and you guys want it together. And they were like, I was like, I think you were in the room. The searcher, I think he's probably in here. He was like, you need to come clean.
Right. What's going on? You need to tell me. Is it
we don't need to look for conspiracy theories. We got conspiracies right within the whole community.
Well, and it was interesting because conspiracy theories were low as alcohol consumption was low at the beginning. But as
Serrano on the rocks.
It went up. Oh, and there was secret hidden bottles, different places.
John Bobbitt, you're not allowed to bring your phone into the suite next year. Just so you know, there is a John Bobbitt no phone rule this year.
And the reason for that is he shows pictures of incredibly horrific life events that have happened. And I will say that
it was funny, but
it was not funny.
I have nightmares.
I'm not okay. Once he showed you, and you, I think you turned red and then white.
I ran. I was running around the suite trying to get away from him.
But when his foot got.
That hole in his foot. I saw that too from his search area, from his boots on the ground. Yeah.
He showed me that, and I thought I was going to vomit. And then he goes, "Let me show you a really bad picture."
Hey.
And I'm like, I said, "Show Mike first."
Here's an oldie but goodie. It goes like this, and he just puts it in my face. I'm like, oh my god. But somebody did ask earlier about Hidden Secrets apps. Hidden Secrets app. Do you guys remember I did a vlog about an app that was supposed to come out that was going to be a treasure hunt, and it sounded awesome and money, and it still hasn't come out. The last I heard is they wanted to make sure legal issues were defined and worked out. So, unfortunately, they totally were premature on all their advertising and everything, because that was over a year ago they sent me that box in the mail. So, hopefully it comes out someday, but,
Maybe that's an example of a way treasure hunts can continue. We go away from the book writing. Yeah. And then maybe it's the killer app is the thing that
digital, for sure.
Some other way that we don't even know about.
Right.
I am over just because I like to work on different hunts in different ways. I am loving the Jenny hunts because they're scrolls. I loved Best hunts. They're scroll I like the one pager kind of puzzles rather than a whole book because there's too many, and the red herrings. Once he said there's 3 actual solves and you have to figure out which one. That's when that
Pete
was
Bissonnette.
Yeah. With breakfast tea and bourbon. So I mean, to each their own on how they do it. I would like something shorter, like a short book, or like a few pages, something that could be more like fun. Because the scrolls, the hard part is people can just share the scrolls. So you need something printed out and handed.
Well, you could say the only way you win is if there's a registration code or something. Of course, I can buy a PDF and share it with my 8 friends, but I'm only the one that can turn it into win or whatever.
Isn't that was it Map of the Dead where we had to register? And
on the website you had to register.
3, and that's when I gave it. I was stuck on 3 for a while.
But hey, when we do our marathon, we can talk about treasure hunting business model, like how. But all these treasure hunts that we know about that are ended and ongoing, what do we take from that, and how would a new treasure hunt be great? It's not going to be $1 million prize, but it could be, 10, 20 grand. That's a lot of money. So something like that could be huge,
Well, and I have seen lots of comments about the FOIA. I will tell you, and he has, I believe, accepted. So I hope this is okay to say. I've asked at Gypsy's Kiss if we can just talk, or Toby specifically, but of course Toby and Shelley, if we can talk about the FOIA, what the process is, why it is not an invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
How the process works, how it ensures that there isn't personal information, etc. Toby and I talked about it maybe a month or two ago. I do believe, and if you have been on Facebook, a searcher has come forward that they have the FOIA. I have confirmed that there is at least one searcher, I believe more than one searcher, that does have the FOIA.
Does have the FOIA?
That does have the FOIA.
Oh.
And so I haven't talked to you about this, Mike. So
yeah,
you can
hey.
I'm going to stuff that you don't know.
Right.
And so I do think it's going to be I do believe one of those searchers has said they're going to share it with the community. The other one has
And
not.
Let's be clear, it's not you, correct? That has the FOIA. Okay. I want to make sure.
But I do think it would be important because I have been outed the most about it, of why it is not a personal thing, etc. I have had 2 face-to-face conversations and plenty of non-face-to-face conversations with Forrest about this particular subject, and I am open to be. I'm not going to talk on his behalf, but those of you that think that I would be a scoundrel to Forrest, get out your mind. So we can go into that as well. But I would like to do. Toby, I think, facilitates, especially as I see the room scrolling by a million miles an hour. It is really hard when we're on the panel. They do a really good job. I think they're the creme de la creme. I think it's an important topic, and so I asked Toby a couple months ago, and we just need to set a time. I think it would be interesting to have that discussion even before it comes out, or especially before it comes out. And then whoever does get it out, and I am in the process, and so I do believe it will be out, since it has, I believe, a few. And then there is the ethical dilemma. A few have it. Is it okay? Is it okay that a few have it? Should it not come out? Should it come out? That sort of thing. We can have that second discussion. But I think people need to understand what it is first, before we can really, because some people are saying investigations are still open. That's why there's just some misinformation out there that I think would be good to have as a first piece before we even get into the other pieces. And then ultimately it's out.
Yeah, we need to have that conversation because there's a lot of questions that come up. So let's say somebody, whoever has that FOIA, and I know who that is, but if they come on YouTube and say, look, everybody, here's what I got. Well, what's to prevent me from saying, oh, there's more, you're just not showing it? Is there a way for me to verify independently what they got or how many pictures?
Yes.
No, see, that would be helpful because, somebody is going to go, oh, no, you hid that one thing.
That is a FOIA in itself.
Oh, it's another request to know what they got?
So I can request not only the FOIA on the particulars, I can request who are the other individuals that have gotten this FOIA and what did they get.
And do you know who it is already?
I do not.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I've just come into a lot of this information recently because someone posted on Facebook how, since I wasn't putting it out, they're going to be putting it out, and then deleted it. And then so I posted right back up and said, hey, we're going to talk about it.
AGA says, yes, you can FOIA the FOIA.
You can FOIA the FOIA. And there you go from there.
So Toby and Shelley, I hope you're part of our Forrest Fenn Marathon because we could talk about what you just said. Is it in New Mexico or is it north of New Mexico? And he just gave a reason why he thinks it's in New Mexico. So that'd be an hour-long conversation right there, right?
Oh, I think for all of that, think about all the different topics that have been out there. I would love to discuss, what do we think the next wave of discussions or avenues that we're going to be discussing treasure hunts. I think there was the huge wave of, it was just the Owl site to begin with, and then we moved to forums. And then I think this last year was the year of the tuber. Reddit, I think, is a whole different group. Facebook's a whole different group.
A bunch of trolls on Reddit.
Yeah, but there is a lot. I mean, 17,000 subscribed on the Reddit Forrest Fenn subreddit. I was shocked at just the number.
Right. I don't know how many are active, but you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably a good. I mean, I do think that, I can tell you, Hint of Riches has more new postings, or about maybe the same. So it is pretty active. And again, I think that there are individual groups, and there's not a lot of overlap. Facebook has the Facebookers. There's a few that come over to the forums, but the forums, are separate from Reddit, that are separate from Facebook, that are separate from Dale. Even Dale's side, I think, has its own group that is really focused there. So. Anyway.
Denise Baker has an interesting one. This will be for your app, AJ. Someone suggested sharing total miles involved in our solves. No coordinates, just mileage to see if anybody else has got the same mileage, and then maybe that you're in the same area. So you would have to say miles from where? From the starting point?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Well, how many miles away is your
I was going to say West
solve?
Yellowstone
Yeah.
entrance.
Yeah.
Parking lot
That's kind of
at
interesting.
the Denver Museum.
Or distance between clue 1 and clue 9.
Right. Less than a mile, right, Chrissy? Too far to walk. There's something there we're not seeing.
I would not say that. I would say it's less than a mile from getting out of your car, not necessarily.
Oh, okay. Right.
1 to 9. It depends on your solve.
From Home of Brown to the end is less than a mile.
That's
where you get out of your car. I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I would say that Forrest has not said that, so it is not fact.
All right.
Okay, can you tell we've argued this point before? Okay. Okay, so anyone else, anyone that super chatted, did you guys have questions tonight? And thank you for all those super chats. That was awesome and fun. It's been, gosh, we went over 2 hours tonight.
See how easy that is. 9 hours. Maybe we go 12 hours that day. I'll just keep going until I fall out. I don't care.
Well, Mike, what you'll do is just walk away from your camera.
Yeah, I just leave it up. Right. Well, it should be interesting. Maybe Saturday the 18th. We'll see if we can nail that down or not. I don't know. We'll see. Again,
I have something the part of the 18th. I'm glad we talked about this.
Okay. Well, then maybe it'll be Sunday the 19th. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
But again, I don't have to be there the whole time. I just know I have about 2 hours I'm going to be out. But other than that, sure. And I actually might not have. Oh, wait. You have kids. You're good with having kids?
Not that weekend, I don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought I had kids. You didn't.
So somebody said some advice for AJ. People won't buy the cow if you give the milk away for free. What does that mean? Are you supposed to charge for these puzzles? Is that what they're trying to say?
Hey, it was $5.
Yeah, right.
To get the cow suit on. I didn't give it away for free.
Oh my gosh.
You'll get there. You'll be able to monetize eventually on your channel. You'll get there.
Well,
my end game is just have fun. But whatever happens.
Right. But if you get to that point, why wouldn't you? That's the way I looked at it. Is if it happens, well, then why not? Yeah.
Maybe then I would start making my own treasure hunts with whatever money is coming out. How about that?
There you go. Yeah, for sure.
Well, and I think that's one thing that's been discussed a lot is what happens when the Forrest Fenn treasure is found. I think the whole community, the Forrest Fenn hardcores, there's a lot that are only in it. But there's going to need to be that next big one. And I think Breakfast Tea and Bourbon was a good contender for that. But what is the next one? The Secret has some people at, but I don't think there's that. What's that next big one?
And somebody's got to step up to fill it, for sure. There is a business model there, and it's just fun. It's just to be that person to do it. Forget about money or business model. But the problem is the prize. What is the prize? The $500 hunt is over within a week. What about a long term? What could take years or whatever to be as big as the Forrest Fenn thing? That's the trick. Is how do you make it hard, but not so hard that it's over before the word ever has a chance to get out to everybody.
Well, and I think Toby's talked about it, but many people have talked about it. I don't think there's been 350,000 people in the hunt, even 350,000 searches. I don't think we have an accurate number of. I know when. There's been a couple times, like I consistently will have about 2,000. Well, 2,000 hits was the top hits on Thor. And I think those are kind of I think about 1,500 are the hardcore ones. And then another 500 are, somebody who checked in that given day. So I don't know.
Forrest Fenn himself has said in a 2017 interview that there have been 22,000 copies of The Thrill of the Chase has been sold.
$35 a pop.
22,000. Sounds like a big number, but
I'm gonna do the math right now.
You go down, and he even mentioned in the same interview that between 1,500 and 1,800 of the next one, which is Too Far to Walk, that's how many copies of that is sold.
How many copies of Thrill of the Chase?
22,000.
22,000. That was in a 2017 interview.
Which we know is not 22,000, and that's just a hint. No, I'm kidding.
That's 700. 22,000 copies at $35 each, and we know a lot of these go for more on Amazon and eBay and everywhere else.
Oh, he's doing the math.
Is $770,000, $750,000. Isn't that? I mean, that's crazy.
But there's a cost. Yeah, okay, that's just the sales. There's a cost.
Oh, of course. Nobody
everything.
made $700,000, of course.
Right.
But yeah, and more people are buying them. I mean, we sell the book, we bought it, and we sell it. So yeah, everybody's welcome to do that.
But I'm saying it's not a quite great business decision.
Oh, it won't. Yeah,
you got a treasure worth multi-millions of dollars, and you sell 700,000 just in sales.
Right.
Right, but if you think about it, he sold his toothbrush holder for how much?
$3,500.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, but that's who Forrest is. You have to have a guy. Okay, let me put it this way: if there was, so the Forrest Fenn treasure is found this year, like a lot of people think, and then somebody else says, "Hey, I got a new treasure hunt. $1 million is the prize." Well, who are you? I don't believe you have $1 million. The person who puts up the thing has to be credible, right? And Forrest Fenn is credible with his art gallery, with the collection that he has. When he says, "This is what I put in the treasure chest," people are like, "Oh yeah, you did have that stuff."
And his incentive, the sales, he says, goes to charities and to his children, grail children. So he's. His incentive is like, oh, okay, well then it's fine.
Yeah.
What if there's someone else like a Ted Turner who owns a whole bunch of property out west? What if he says, hey, here's a treasure chest that's hidden on one of my properties.
Yeah.
Here's a poem or here's a riddle to figure it out and go get it.
Now, do you think somebody is going to do that? Like somebody has looked at this Forrest Fenn thing, a millionaire, a popular person, and is going to do a similar thing, or no?
I think he's a one of a kind, but I would think Kit Williams, who did Masquerade, is kind of a one of a. He's kind of a little bit of a character if you look at Masquerade and Kit Williams.
Right.
He's a painter, and he was upset that if he wrote a children's book, that his painting would just get paged right through, and then it would be put aside. He wanted to have people, analyze his paintings. And so he had the incentive of, okay, maybe make a treasure hunt, and people really go into him. People really looked into him. So, there's different ways to do it, but I just hope there's more of them out there is all I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Well, and I think as it grows over time, with the little hunts like we're doing, and then one day, won't it be funny when the little hunts are considered 50,000 or whatever? Because I do believe, again, we're at the beginning of a market. And when you have people go on Shark Tank and get 500,000 to be able to start an app and start this and start that. I think we're at the very beginning of this. So anyway,
I hope so. I'm optimistic.
I hope so too. Yeah.
Bye, Toby. Toby's going.
He's going to Albertsons.
Yeah.
Things that get in the way of treasure hunting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we are terribly, terribly over, Mike.
That's okay. I think from now on we just make it 2 hours. When we have a good guest like AJ, it just goes by quick, doesn't it?
Yes, of course. But remember, it's like 6 o'clock your time. It's 11:15 my time.
Oh, that's true. And it is a weekday. So, all right, we will wrap it up, everybody. Thank you, AJ, for coming on. I like the wordplay stuff. Treasure Hunter Blue Balls. It'll be on a T-shirt at some point. I don't know when. Not Blue Balls Lazars. That's not going to work. Everybody go to AJ Rainville's YouTube channel and subscribe. He's on every Monday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And he goes over wordplay and puzzles and riddles and some cool stuff. It exercises your brain. So Copper Dan has got that Too Far to Walk map up on eBay. Chris Jones has got treasure chests up on eBay. There's all kinds of stuff. It just depends what you're looking for. So I'm Cowlazars. That's K-Pro. And that's AJ Rainville. So, all right, everybody, we will be back on Monday. Maybe this weekend. You never know when me and K-Pro are going to go live.
You never know. Hit the subscribe button, y'all, or you're going to be in big trouble and you're going to miss out.
All right. See you, everybody.